Hello and welcome to the Paperclip Martinsville International Speedway here in Martinsville, Virginia, for what is bound to be one of the most exciting races of the year. It always is. I know it has it marked on my calendar. Myself, John Bucher, my broadcast partner Colin Fern, who saw this track in person last weekend, now gets to see it on the virtual world of iRacing. Colin, what do we expect to see out of these drivers tonight as we get ready to take this track?
Well, John, I think overall tonight we're going to be seeing a lot of bumpers banging. We're going to see a lot of pissed off drivers, and I think overall we're going to see a lot of good racing. It's going to be a fun night, John. I'm looking forward to it.
And certainly pissed off is going to be a term to keep an eye on throughout the night. This is one of those tracks that, without a doubt, brings out those short track tempers, probably more so than any other track on the schedule. I know pre-race we were talking, you compared it to a road course, another track that brings out a lot of tempers.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I think the problem is the comparison I see is that it's a lot of hard braking, got a lot of close quarters racing, and you got a lot of drivers just trying to outbrake other drivers, and that in itself causes problems. And when you get a lot of drivers trying to outbrake, you're going to see some guys who don't brake enough and go up and they door guys, and you get some cautions because of it. And I think it's just a factor of the racing, and I think you're going to see a lot of comparisons between short tracks like Martinsville and the road courses such as Watkins Glen or Sonoma. And
it's certainly a track where you can get yourself in a lot of trouble without meaning to. We see it a lot in the Cup side of things in real life that you don't mean to wreck a guy, you just happen to kind of get into the back of him. So certainly something to keep an eye on throughout tonight. I know we had some rivalry started a few weeks ago at Phoenix. We had some started last week, and certainly probably going to see some more started tonight. So it'll be something to keep an eye on. But if you want to go ahead and we'll get these pre-race interviews started, who do we pull down here first?
I think this first one we're going to talk to is Rob Burns. Hey, Rob Burns, you got a copy, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Colin?
Hey, Rob, man, you have gone off to an amazing start. I mean, you have 3 top 5s so far this year. You give an average finish of just under 7. You've got a great start to the season this year so far, man. How do you look to build on that going into Martinsville?
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent. That's about the only thing this year. I've been through 3 teams, manufacturer change, so a lot of change there, but I guess being consistent on track is a good thing. Tonight, I'm just going to try to keep it clean. I mean, there's 250 laps. You just got to take your time. Hoping to start up front, but long runs are going to be tough for me. Whenever I was practicing there, long runs were really getting tight, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, man. And, well, we haven't really had a track compared to Martinsville so far. We've had Phoenix, which is our only other short track so far we've gone to. And you started 6th and you finished 5th. You had a very consistent run. You didn't really fall out of the top 10. You feel like that since you ran good at Phoenix, it's going to help you towards Martinsville tonight? A lot of hard braking?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. It's just I'm so worried about getting caught up on something early, so I'm just going to really take my time tonight, and hopefully everything falls together. But looking for a good finish for GPM tonight. Hope everybody enjoys the show.
10-4, man. Well, thank you for the interview. Qualifying's about ready to get started here, so good luck in that, and good luck in the race, man.
Hey, thanks.
And that was the driver of the number 12 Exxon Chevy SS there, Rob Burns. I believe we had a few more you wanted to grab. Looks like Anthony Titcher's down here. If you want to take this one away.
Anthony Titcher. Where do I begin? You got back-to-back wins to start, so far. You've gotten 3 consecutive top 2 finishes. You led an ECR high 259 laps led this season. So where do I begin? What are you looking forward to tonight?
Finishing the race, man. Tonight is one of them nights where it's been a struggling week. Haven't put together a good long run during a race yet. So I'm just looking forward to putting together a long run, having a good race, and just finishing tonight. That's my goal. It's been a great week. Been enjoying it while I can. It's been a lot of hard work. Hoping one of my guys will have success tonight. They feel real confident. AJ's looking good, so hopefully we can get one of them guys out there and do good tonight. Just hoping one of them will carry the weight. I'm not feeling too confident in myself. Just looking to finish, maybe grab a top 10 and finishing, because I'm hoping we get through the wrecks, man. That's going to be the big thing tonight, looking after them wrecks.
Well, you mentioned it there that you don't feel too comfortable. But we were just talking to Rob, and we seem to compare Martinsville to a road course, but also to Phoenix, which is a place you dominated earlier on in the year. Do you feel like some sort of comparison that will help you out tonight with a lot of hard braking and close quarters racing?
Yeah, for that part, yeah, I think I'll be able to maintain focus and be consistent and just calm down and let the thing play out. I think that's where it'll help me out. You know, but as far as the setup-wise, I feel like Phoenix, we just were able to have a real good car. We were able to just get it going and be able to get back in the gas real quick. And tonight, it's not so much that wise, you know, so we're trying to drive it real hard and got to stay consistent tonight and just be patient.
Absolutely, man. Well, qualifying's just right about to get started here. Your 87 Jim Beam Chevrolet, you look to embark on another good run and try to open up that points lead you have over Kevin Cook so far. So good luck tonight, buddy, and good luck the rest of the season.
Hey, guys. Appreciate it, man.
And that was your Kevin Harvick of sorts, Anthony Ditchner, who has gone on a tear in recent weeks, as Colin said. 2 back-to-back wins, 3 top 2 finishes, and looks to do the same here at Martinsville. But as qualifying gets ready to get underway, Colin, we mentioned we have the open car qualifying here. What can we expect to see out of these guys when it comes to all these cars being on the track and looking for that hot lap?
Honestly, I don't know what to compare it to exactly. You're going to see a lot of drivers try to hot lap, but since you got so many cars, I believe we have 24 cars out there. So many cars out there, close quarters. As we mentioned before, you're going to see a lot of guys trying to diamond the exit off turn 4 to get that good run down the front straightaway, and you're going to have a lot of guys in the way, and that's going to cause probably some slower laps.
And the green flag is out here in the open car qualifying. Colin mentioned all these cars are on track at the same time. There is not. We already have a first spinner, AJ Scarborough, off of turn number 2 there. You just can't get out of the way here. I mean, if you're slow and somebody wants to come on through and they're on a hot lap, I mean, there's nowhere you can go to get out of the way. Even if you pull high here, it's still going to slow them up. So getting that clear track could be more important here than maybe anywhere else on the circuit.
Exactly, and you see Anthony Fisher there with a 19.80, and I think you're going to have to get into the 6s, John, if you're going to want to start on that front row tonight, or at least the pole. I think a 6 is going to what you need to be, and 8's not going to quite do it, I don't think.
And I didn't really do a whole lot of running here this week, admittedly, but I imagine the tires here make it so you probably can't run more than maybe 2 laps at full speed?
No. And that, John, that's a perk of virtual racing, is you're able to escape from your car, go back to your pit style, and you get 4 fresh tires on them, and 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and you get to go out there and try to make another run for it.
Certainly something I'm sure the pro guys wish they had in real life, the ability to just throw 4 fresh Goodyears on that thing and go back out there and run around. Obviously, tire conservation not at all a factor in qualifying. You got 10 minutes, run as many laps as you want. Contact all over the place already, just jumping around different cameras here. These guys are bouncing and banging, and this is only qualifying, so wait till you see all 24 of these cars, nose to tail, and 2 rows of 12. Going down into turn number 1. It's going to be a fun night. Your leader right now, Justin Bland, with a 19.71. You mentioned the 6 is probably going to be the mark to hit.
Yeah, John, I just feel like a 7 is a good run. It is a great lap. But if you look out there at the top 4 in practice, they all ran a 6. And I just don't think a 7 is going to really cut it for a top 5. Or, excuse me, a top front row spot. I see Anthony Fisher out there. He's making his 3rd run right now, and he's trying to get everything he can going on off turn 4. And I think Matthew Thunhorse and Justin Bland are going to be the 2 guys for the pole. Mark Figueroa and Douglas Hess also have had some fast laps. And while we're on that point, Douglas Hess tonight, John, is subbing for George Price in the 48. George Price is 3rd in points, but he's not going to be after this week as Douglas Hess is subbing for him.
So, as he said, George Price out. That white and black Havoline number 48 Chevy is being driven by Douglas Hess. I believe is this his first Cup start?
I believe it is his first Cup start of the year.
So we had a rookie go almost to victory lane last week in Matthew Thunhorse. He'll be our in-race reporter. We'll talk to him as we grid. Looks like Douglas Hess is going to be the one trying to repeat that tonight. A little bit tougher of a track to do it on, if I'd have to say so myself. But he's got the car, he's got the team. He can certainly make a run at it.
Absolutely, John. And how about Kevin Cook up there? He's 11th fastest in practice, and he's 3rd fastest in qualifying so far. A great lap by him. He beat his practice time by an entire 10th. Definitely coming in the clutch right there for that 45 Star Wars machine.
Martinsville is one of those tracks I find that's always weird because you see practice and qualifying times. I mean, the winner, my guy, Denny Hamlin, came from 15th on Sunday, and now you've got guys that were 11th in practice. They're up to 3rd. I don't know if it really matters where you start here. Obviously, the pole is where you want to be, but you can make so many gains on pit road and different things, and if you have a fast car, you're probably going to get to the front. It's not an easy track to pass at, but when you pass, I mean, it's not the hardest track to make a pass on once you start it. So you can make moves to the front if you start in the back, if you have a fast car and can adjust on it, but if you've got a bad car, being in the back is certainly not where you want to be.
Absolutely, John. It's just And you saw it with Dale Jr. If you watched the race on Sunday, you saw it with Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and a couple other guys that usually are fast, and they were fast. They were very fast all day long, but they got caught up in lap traffic and backwards in the back of the pack. And there's just nowhere for you to go. It's an accordion effect. Everyone stops in front of you. The guy in front of you, and the guy 5 cars in front of you slows down 2 miles an hour. The guy behind him slows down 2 miles an hour. And by the time you get there, you have to slow down 10 to 15 miles an hour. So it's just an accordion effect where you always, if you're farther in the back, you're going to have a worse lap.
And not that it's necessarily hard to slow one of these cars down by 15 miles an hour, but the capacity at which they run here is so close, and it's so compact most of the time that you just don't simply have time to slow down. I mean, the back bumper gets so big so quick that you just don't have a lot of time to get out. We saw Chase Elliott on Sunday. Yep. His Cup start was essentially ruined by just not having time to get out of the gas. So it's one of those tracks that it's not hard to stop a race car like it is at maybe like a Daytona or Texas or a fast track. It's just you don't have time. It's such a tight, compacted racing type of track that you just can't get out of it in time. Douglas Hess to the pole now. As you said, with a 6'8" for him, and his first Cup start, mirroring Matthew Thunhorse last week, running up front already.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the guys in the garage earlier, John, and I asked them, I said, what's up with you guys, you full-timers, letting these substitution guys come in here and show you guys up? And they weren't really sure. They said that it must be the adrenaline. They didn't know exactly why these substitution guys were going out there and running great laps, but they said they worked their butts off, and the adrenaline of making their Cup start, I think, is overwhelming.
You know, and it's one of those things, too, that when you run something for so long as these guys have, I mean, not for so long, we're only on week, what is this, 5, race 5 here, but when you've run it the first 3 weeks, you kind of have those races in your mind, and you've kind of got different setups and different braking points and this, that, and the other, but when you come in here fresh, that's all you know. That's the only track you know in this car, at least in this series. Obviously, on iRacing, you can run this thing on any track you want, but you come in here and you've kind of got a clear slate.
Sorry to interrupt you, John, but Matthew Thunhorse mirrors Douglas Hess's time with a 6.81 across the board at the tie, and Douglas Hess holds the tiebreaker.
And a quick note on Matthew, did he get picked up last week? I believe someone picked him up for a full ride, yes?
Young Guns Racing, right here on MOTV in the chat box, John. Nick Olson picked up Matthew Thunhorse and picked him up full-time. He's driving that number 6 Nationwide Chevy right now.
So we'll see just how much that was. Luck of the first start last week, or if it is something he can do consistently. Again, we'll talk to him when the race gets going here on the pace laps. But to second place, and not really second place, as you said, he mirrored Douglas Hess's lap, showing all dittos right now on the scoring chart. So the 2 new guns showing up these old-timers here by a long shot.
Absolutely, John, and I think Justin Bland's going to get out there. He's just overdriving it, and I see him going out there. He's trying to drive it in harder than, which is a mistake, because similar, I guess it's kind of ironic to compare Martinsville to Auto Club, but similar to Auto Club, John, where you have to go slower to be fast, and I think it's just the product of the race in here.
And I think in some respect, you can kind of categorize NASCAR tracks into 2 different breeds of racing. You've got the flatter, kind of slow in, fast out tracks, and you've got the faster Texas type tracks where you're just kind of never out of the throttle. And this is certainly one of those tracks, obviously, where you're out of the throttle quite a bit and you're really rolling the race car, kind of like an Auto Club, where momentum isn't necessarily the biggest factor. It's more of how straight you can drive it up off the corner and get in that throttle. And certainly we're seeing guys that are able to, you know, work the brake and roll the center and then get right back on that throttle, not have to feather it, and they drive off in such a straight line that it essentially makes the straightaway another 20 yards longer.
Absolutely, John, and you're going to see a lot of guys. I know if on NBC Sports Network they mentioned Parker Kligerman. He drove on the iRacing. He shows how to drive at Martinsville, and he showed how guys like Denny Hamlin and Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are able to diamond the corner and get that run off the corner and get just that, like you said, that extra 20 to 50 feet of having the throttle down and out-braking the guy into the next turn, which is a great factor to have here at Martinsville.
Certainly very important. This track obviously not very big, so if you can add any amount of length to being in that throttle, it's very, very important. We saw on Sunday when they would pull up the little telemetry on there about how, you know, they were in the throttle when they were on the brake and the RPMs. The guys that were able to run up front and in the lead were essentially pulling, you know, another 8-9 miles an hour even at the end of the straightaways, and the guys that weren't. So getting back on that throttle, very, very, very important here. We see Justin Bland, Douglas Hess, Matthew Thunhorse doing it very well. Some of the guys towards the bottom may be going to struggle, and that's what runs into trouble here is you're going fast and the guy in front of you might not be.
Absolutely, John. That's just a product of racing here. You see Justin Bland spinning hard in the inside wall, just trying to get everything they can. Everybody's wrecking down on the backstretch right now. Not the place to be, but it's just a product of the racing, John. You're gonna see a lot of these guys driving over their heads. He's trying to outdrive, outbrake, and outman, I guess you could say, these other drivers in the league. We have 24 cars out there, and nobody wants to be that first one to the garage area. But just by trying to be the first one to victory lane could put them in that situation.
And while we're on the topic of the garage area, we certainly know that this race is not going to go caution-free. If it does, it would be the first time I've seen any race at Martinsville, no matter what the length, whether it be 10 laps or 1,000 laps.
Nonetheless, 250 laps.
Yeah, 250 laps, a long time. You're going to see a caution at some point, most likely more so than one. I'd imagine, I think we talked pre-race, maybe 8 might be the magic number. We saw 16 in the Cup race. So you imagine you're going to see some cautions tonight. You don't want to be that guy that gets caught up in the first one, because you don't want to see your night go badly that soon. Obviously, if you're going to get wrecked, you want it to be in the first caution. This is a track where aerodynamics don't really matter. You can get your car fixed and back out there, but if you can keep the fenders clean, this is one of those tracks I know we talk about personally. If you can keep the fenders clean, you're probably going to walk away with the top 10 just by not being on pit road.
And John, I don't know if you can go to Matthew Thunhorse's nose right now, but he is on a hot lap, and if he's going to get that pole, he's going to get it now. Driving into turn 2, we saw Anthony Titcher get the pole in the last run last week. Matthew Thunhorse trying to do it this week as he comes off turn 4. I don't know if he's
got a car spinning in front of him. He splits it.
No, he did not do it.
I think he pushed up just a little bit in 3 and 4 there. He drove it in pretty deep. He pushed up. You want to push up a little bit. Maybe not as much as he did there, but certainly going to be an exciting race. And as they grid here, you'll run them down, and I'll go pull Matthew Thunhorse down here. We'll get our in-race reporter on.
Absolutely, John. You got Douglas Hess on the pole, making his Cup Series debut this week at Martinsville. And on the outside front row, we got Matthew Thunhorse in the 6, and we got Matthew Thunhorse being our in-race reporter tonight, his number 6 Chevrolet. Hey, Matthew Thunhorse, this is Colin from the ECR broadcast. But you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, you had a great run last week. You started, I believe, 2nd or 3rd. You started up front. You finished up front. Almost had a Cinderella story of sorts, coming out there and finishing 2nd to Anthony Titcher. But how do you build on last week's run to your new team here on Young Guns Racing? How do you build that chemistry up to succeed in this week at Martinsville?
Tonight, I got to actually take an entire different approach with everything. I mean, we were racing in California, but this is Martinsville, so just got to play it smart here. Can't get over my head. I mean, I've got a good setup underneath me. I've been working well with Charles and Luis, so I look forward to good things. It's just going to have to get through this first 50 laps, and then we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely, man. You mentioned it there, your strategy. You start 2nd today. So what's your plan for today? And obviously the style of racing, the hard braking, close quarters. What's your plan for today?
For the first 50 laps, just stay up here with Doug and see if I can lead a few, but just try to survive the first 50, and then after that, it's get to the 200 lap marker and try to use those 150 laps to get to where I need to, and then that last 50, if I'm in a good spot, just go and make sure my equipment's in good shape and go for it.
Absolutely, man. Well, your number 6 Nationwide Chevrolet starts outside the front row tonight, right next to that Haviland 48 car. So good luck tonight, buddy, in your Young Guns Racing debut, and 2nd start of the season. Try to get that first victory.
Yeah, too bad I didn't get that first pole, though. Doug was just a little too fast.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, thanks.
And he did mention he almost got that pole. It was, at least by iRacing's numbers that they show you, an absolutely identical lap. Obviously, I'm sure they have numbers that go on and on, the different decimal places that decide it, but or maybe just a factor of Douglas Hess running his lap first, might have been just something like that, but certainly mirrored the pole, so your front row is literally tied at the current moment. If you want to go ahead and run through the rest of the top 15, we'll get this
absolutely,
thing
John. You said Douglas Hess there and Matthew Thunhorse, the top 2 there on the front row. Justin Bland and Anthony Fisher in the 2nd row. Inside 3rd row, we got AJ Scarborough. He making his return to the Cup Series after being suspended last week at Auto Club. Making his return to the Cup Series here. He's going to start inside row 3. Kevin Cook, he's my pick to win tonight, John. His number 45 Star Wars machine. He starts outside row 3 in the 6th position. Mark Figueroa, 7th tonight in his 00, and his teammate Nick Groth in the 19th is going to start outside of him. Rob Burns, we talked to him earlier, John, and there's his number 12 machine. Josh Mayu in the 61 is going to start on the outside of him in row 5. Matthew George, he's had it off to a great start in number 50. He's going to start 11th, and Charles Silver in the 7, he's going to start 12th. Really struggling in practice there, but he's trying to get that long run setup going. David Grosclose, excuse me, making his debut tonight. He's going to start 13th. Joy Lim, 14th. Wayne Willard and his teammate Sean Medley, 15th and 16th. Luis Salmazo in 17th. Chris Coy, 18th. Ron Miller and Stephen Massey round out the top 20.
So you mentioned we got some guys making their first starts, we got some guys making their first starts for certain teams, and we got some guys that are just trying to survive tonight. So certainly a lot of storylines to keep an eye on. Pace car is going to go ahead and get ready to pull off, and we're going to get this thing green.
Green, green, green.
And what a start by Douglas Hess. These guys making all sorts of moves in the back of the pack.
Almost changed lanes before that restart. Douglas Hess came very close to moving up to that outside line, pulled it back down. And somehow they get through turn 1 clean.
Oh, back it looks like, John, 5 in the 19. And that's just the first of many times, I think, tonight.
Certainly going to be a lot of contact. There's going to be no shying away from the fact that we're going to see some crumpled bumpers tonight. Generally, you like to see these guys run clean and fast laps, but tonight they are going to be all over each other. I think that's kind of what makes Martinsville Martinsville. And already our first caution of the night.
Of the lead. Oh my.
It is Martinsville.
Nobody is safe making his start. We had such high hopes for him in his number 48 Heavily machine, making the substitution for George Price, and 48 car spinning off turn 4 from the lead.
And no contact there, just lost it. Looks like he
it.
got up in that
loose,
high
got
line
the
up there in the
hard.
marbles and just spun the car out. So a tough break, getting into that race pace we talked about last week with Nick Groth. Tonight, damage early for the 48, and he immediately towed. So I wonder if there's something broken up with that for the number 48 car.
Yeah, John, it looked like it. I mean, his number 48 machine, he hit that inside wall pretty darn hard, and definitely unfortunate for him.
So obviously, caution this early on. I wouldn't think we'd see any takers on pit road. I think maybe some cars in the back might stop and top off on fuel. I don't think anybody would take tires at this point. But a quick first caution, and one that I know I wasn't expecting to see. I know you generally see people get wrecked out of the lead, but that's usually with about 5 or 6 laps to go. Not on lap 3. So a very tough break for Douglas Hess making his start here tonight for George Price. His night might be done about 247 laps earlier than he had planned.
Absolutely, John. I don't think tonight's going to be done. I think he's going to try to get back out there and salvage anything he can. And who knows, if we get a huge string of cautions there, he could very well get back on the lead lap with a whole bunch of lucky dogs. But definitely unfortunate sort of circumstances for Douglas Hess and his 48 machine. But he's currently scored 22nd, 3 laps down. As Matthew Dunhorse, we might talk to him as our internet supporter. He's in the lead. Anthony Fisher is going to be P2, and Kevin Cook P3. A good run there on the outside. Gained 2 positions on there. 3 positions, I'm sorry, on that first set of run.
And I know you mentioned lucky dogs there, and something that we don't talk a lot about at Martinsville is the lucky dog. I mean, a lot of cars go a lap down here, so if you're in a position like Douglas Hess, you need that lucky dog, you're going to have to get it soon. It only takes maybe 20 laps, which is pretty quick at Martinsville. Yep. They run 20-second laps here, so it only takes 20-25 laps, and the leader's catching the tail end of the field. So you've really got to get those lucky dogs soon here. And when you do get past and you're in the lucky dog spot, you're not in it for long, as the cars, they say, to get that conveyor belt type of feel to it here, where it just, nose to tail all the way around. So tough break, not the track you want to wreck early at. We mentioned if you're going to wreck, you want to wreck early, but he's going multiple laps down, and that's going to put a huge dent in his chances to get a good finish tonight.
Absolutely, and definitely unfortunate for him. We use that term a lot here, and I'm being very redundant with it right now, but after starting on the pole and going multiple laps down and still having major front-end damage, he's back out on the track, but he scored 3 laps down in 22nd. He's definitely going to need a whole lot of luck and a whole lot of time to get that car fixed up.
Another driver showing a lap down for me currently is Will Prue in that number 83. We mentioned another one of our guys making his first Cup start here tonight for ECR. He showed a lap down. Not sure what happened in that number 83 car, but currently a lap down. We've got Douglas Hess 3 laps down, and then Corey Chafin showing 5 laps down. So some guys in early trouble tonight, but with Will Prue being that lap down, that really, really doesn't help Douglas Hess's chance of getting that lucky dog.
It doesn't, John, but here we go. We're double filed back up, and I want to see how long it's going to take till we get back under yellow here. Double filed up, Matthew Thunhorse on the inside, Anthony Fisher on the outside as they come off turn 4. Green flag is back out. Matthew Thunhorse with a great restart.
And we mentioned Matthew Thunhorse had tied for the pole. He does have the pole that time, and he'll use it to his advantage.
Oh,
Anthony
got contact
Ditchner.
in the back of the pack. They saved it. Oh, Kevin Cook loose. Oh, my goodness. All over the place.
We are going to be calling numbers like crazy tonight. These guys all over each other. It's only lap 9.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
Anthony Ditchner loose. Oh, my goodness. Nobody's safe out there, John.
And what I think they're doing is they're not really settling in here. They're trying to hot lap the car, and they don't have their cue sets.
Exactly.
And they're just getting on that throttle so quick.
And that's why I think Kevin Cook and Rob Burns are two guys that really have a great shot at it tonight, John, because they worked on their long run setup and they have a good setup for the long run. I think those guys are going to be the guys to watch here after, a 25, 30 lap run if we get it.
And Justin Bland doing something that we didn't mention, but we're probably going to see a lot tonight, just hitting the wall. I mean, just at any point from the exit of the corner to the entrance of the next corner, you can very easily hit the wall. You run so much caster in these cars, they don't go straight. And so it's really hard that when you do get back on the throttle, you see, hit it again right there, that when you put the throttle down even from 90% to 100%, the car does not want to go straight. It just doesn't. And so these guys are going to be hitting the wall just randomly in the middle of the straightaways. And it's something you're going to have to keep an eye on to not hurt the race car too bad and still have something that'll turn left. So that's something to keep an eye on. But a crazy start to this night so far.
And with that being said, John, I don't think a lot. I think you're going to have a lot of damage to go out there and really be struggling right now. Douglas Hess, we saw his front end damage. He's only half a second off the pace of what the leader's running. So with that major front end damage, it's going to take a lot of damage to get these guys really low down and get them in the back of the pack.
Well, iRacing revamped their damage model recently in an update, and it really will caution out on the racetrack.
And a caution is out.
Can't
Not
exactly
sure where.
see
Hello,
who
we got car
stopped.
smoking back there. Mark Figueroa in the 00.
So Mark Figueroa early trouble. We'll go back and get you a peek at that. I didn't see anybody.
And he is all him, John. Got off turn 4 again. Another car getting loose and hitting the inside wall.
So you see him down the back. You mentioned going into turn 4. We'll keep a close eye on what happens with this race car. We'll take a look at our brand new camera that Colin came up with, the nose from the top of your roof here.
And Matthew Thunhorse, John, pits out of the lead. Looks like Rob Burns as well. Wayne Willard, Charles Silver, and Josh Mayu. A couple others coming down pit road early on here.
And that hands the lead to the guy that's been absolutely dominant the last few weeks, Anthony Ditchner. So he'll be up front. AJ Scarborough is going to be in that desirable number 2 spot. Nick Groth and Kevin Cook. Looks like Justin Bland going to be running that your top 5. So some interesting guys coming down pit road. You mentioned Matthew Thunhorse pits out of the lead. That'll put him on a different cycle of pit strategy tonight. We mentioned this is probably a 1-stop, maybe 2-stop race. These guys can go quite a while on a tank of fuel. But tires here mean just about everything. So,
and John, we mentioned the lucky dog, and Will Prew's the lucky dog. He's going to be getting back on the lead lap there after a slow start.
So Will Prew going to be your lucky dog. That'll put Douglas Hess, I believe, unless Mark Figueroa gets out before 3 laps. But I'm pretty sure he'll be in pit road for a while here tonight. Heavy damage to the front end of that race car. And like you said,
John, it looks like Matthew George in the 50 got caught a lap down on pit road.
I noticed the car struggling in and out of his pit box. I wasn't sure if that was the 50. You only have about 45 seconds to pit your race car here.
Yeah.
And you really don't have... really can't make any mistakes, especially a big one. So Matthew George, you see him parked there going to the back of the pack. He'll be a lap down in the lucky dog spot. This isn't the worst track to go a lap down at, especially early.
No.
This isn't like going a lap down at Texas or Auto Club.
Like Danica Patrick, John, she went a lap down fairly late in the race, lap 250 or 300 or so, and she was able to recover and get a 7th place finish out of it. So definitely not the worst thing in the world, but you kind of don't want to be in that situation to where you have to battle from the back of the pack.
No, that is one thing to mention, too. When you do get the lucky dog, it is an EOL penalty, so you start behind everybody, including the lap race cars, which, as we go later in the race, will become more and more of a factor. As of right now, there's only 1 car lap down, so if he gets the lucky dog, he'll essentially be back where he was, just a lap ahead. So certainly not something you want to do, especially at Martinsville. We mentioned you can pass here, but it is very tricky, and it's a very patient type of passing game. Not a lot of guys like to play it. That's where the chrome horns and the bumpers come into play, but early on, it's not the end of the world. Certainly not like it would be at a Daytona or a track where coming from the back is impossible, and there's not a lot of cautions here. You'll probably get a lucky dog if you're a lap down at any point tonight.
And well, John, these guys double file up. You got an all haters make this famous front row. Anthony Fitchner on the inside and AJ Scarborough on the outside, making his return to the Cup Series today. The pace car pulls off. I want to see if these guys will settle down and try to get into a groove and try to get a long run going here. I haven't seen it so far. Anthony Fitchner comes off turn 4. He's going to hesitate, always playing them restart games. He gets green flag.
And as you mentioned,
Outside
settling
lane
down,
really
not
checks
in
up.
these guys, 3 wide across the start-finish line.
Outside lane really checked up there, John. Matthew Thunhorse with some major front-end damage to that number 6 machine. Major
You mentioned
front-end
before the
damage.
race the accordion effect. Charles Silver still looking 3 wide up the middle. He'll think better of it. Yeah, Matthew Thunhorse, the front end gone on that race car.
And if that thing can stay cool, John, I think he'll be all right. But major front-end damage there on that number 6 machine. And you can see the rear end there on the 81 also very beat up. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that those two got together on the restart.
Usually when there's nose damage on one car, ooh, 42 up in the wall. Christopher Coy, not sure what happened there. And caution is going to fly. Christopher Coy parked up near the wall. Might have a disconnect here. Gonna go back and take a look at it. I'm not sure. It looked like he just didn't turn into the corner.
Yeah, it looked like he just got stuck up in the wall. Not really sure what happened there.
Right on board here. Just got into the wall.
And he's still up there.
Yeah, the
John.
best
I'm
thing
not
I can
really
think
sure.
is he's disconnected. And iRacing, as you know, will not
And
actually
Anthony
disconnect your
Fitchner
race
pits
car.
from the lead.
So another
Wow.
leader's going to come to pit road here. Does he bring anybody with him?
And John, I'm not sure what happened to AJ Scarborough. I didn't see anything happen to him, but he also spun out there just as the caution came out.
And we do apologize in advance. There's just no way to keep up with everything going on here. We have one camera
Absolutely.
guy and 2 sets of eyes, so we apologize in advance for anything we miss. But this track is a playground for people that like dented up fenders, and it's going to be like this all night long. These guys all over each
And-
other. This is a track as a fan that we love to come to, but
Absolutely.
as a camera guy, I'm
And-
not loving it so much.
And John, we've had our 4th leader of the afternoon so far, Nick Groth in the 19 after a very stellar run last week at Auto Club with a 3rd place finish. Leads right now at Martinsville with Kevin Cook 2nd, Stephen Massey starting 20th, already up to 3rd in 23 laps. A great run there, just playing into the strategy game right now. And Stephen Massey's up to 3rd, Wayne Willard 4th, and Rob Burns 5th.
So a very interesting storyline forming here. Your guy who's led the most laps so far at 13, Matthew Thunhorse, doesn't have a front end on his race car. The guy who's led the 2nd most, Anthony Fitchner, pits what I think is way out of cycle. And your current leader, Nick Groth, is still looking for that first win of the season. He's had some good runs, but he's kind of had trouble with race pace. And last week he put together a really good race. He had his fair share of issues, but he managed to come home with 3rd. So certainly a fun pack up front. Your pre-race pick, Kevin Cook, running 2nd. Mine, Anthony Fitchner, running somewhere in the back, I think 13th, 14th when they cycle through here. So,
and John, I just want to point out that we are still very, very early in the race. Don't get me wrong, we have 225 laps remaining, but the top 12 have yet to win a race in the Cup Series this season. Only Anthony Fitchner in this race has won a race. Everybody else has not, and everybody else still wants to get that coveted chase spot right now.
certainly an odd turn of events early on in the year with the way, you know, we had a guy removed from the league that had a victory. Aaron Bergey's no longer here on most weeks. So you're really your only locked-in chase contender right now, as you said, Anthony Fitchner. So going to be fun to see. There's 23 cars in this field that can go out there and lock themselves in the chase. I think they're going to go for it. Martinsville, one of those
Absolutely,
tracks, you
John.
don't really have anything to lose here by just going all out. I mean, this isn't a track you come to expecting a 4th place finish. The pace car's going to pull off. Nick Groth going to bring him to the flag.
And John, this is where I'm kind of curious here. You got 2 of the most inconsistent drivers. Nick Roth gets a great restart.
He
We
was
got
on
2
it
of the most
way early
inconsistent
there.
drivers up front right now with Nick Roth and Stephen Massey. Fast, but very inconsistent at times. So I'm curious to see if those guys can hang with Kevin Cook and Wayne Willard, some of the more consistent, I guess, determined drivers in the league.
Charles Silver, I've been watching. That guy cannot stay out of trouble right now. He was 3 wide earlier on the last restart. Now he gets pinned on the outside. He'll drop a spot to the 12 for Rob Burns. The 61 looking. He's going to throw a block on him. Charles Silver, we mentioned last week at Auto Club,
He just can't
being
get to
panicked.
the bottom, John.
He's just one of these tracks where you just never catch a break, and he's kind of in that spot right now.
And I think this comes with just the youngness, I guess. He's 16 years old, and he's in a cup car. He gets thrown in a cup car. He got 3 wide in the back of the pack. Aaron
Close
Vincent,
call
Matthew
between Aaron
George,
Vincent and
Justin
65
Bland.
there. Justin Bland with a really classy move to lift out of it. He could have very easily put Aaron Vincent into the wall. Checked up a little bit there to let him back in. Certainly doesn't have to do that, and he won't towards the end of the race. See the 50 there doing the same. Aaron Vincent a little bit out of control right now.
Yeah,
Speaking
John, I
towards
think
the
this
back
is
of the
these
pack,
guys trying to get into a rhythm, as we mentioned before.
Anthony Ditchner looking to move up another spot on one of our new guys, David Grosclose, here in the league in that 28 car. Ditchner pinned back there a little bit after that cycle of green flag pit stops there. He pitted, some may call a controversial call. To him, a smart move, and now he's got to get back and work his way through it. He's got the 78 and the 28 to get himself back into the top 10.
Absolutely, John. And going back to what we were talking about with Charles Silver, is that he's just a young kid, and he gets thrown in the cup car around all these other drivers at Martinsville. And not to mention, nobody's comfortable at Martinsville. Nonetheless, a 16-year-old who's still running in 5th place. He's having a great start to the year. He's doing a great job so far early on in this race. It's just a relaxation when you get down to that point. It's just all about being relaxed and being patient.
Speaking of patient, we're going to hop on board here with Kevin Cook. He's being as patient as he can working over our leader, Nick Groth. I think he's got a little bit of a faster car. You see some front end damage on it. Maybe using up the bumper a little bit here. He wants that lead. You've got to get out front here. It's so important. You do not want to start second on these restarts, and I think he knows that in that 45.
Absolutely, John. I feel like he's getting a lot better through the entrance and center than Nick Groth, but Nick Groth is able to get off the corner a lot better. And Kevin Cook really diamond in the corner. I see he's not pushing it too hard on exit, maybe feeling uncomfortable with that car on exit. I've seen him get loose a few times.
Speaking of loose, Anthony Ditchner all the way up to 8th and just about lost that car on the front stretch, and we do have a caution.
And we have a caution now.
And again, no idea.
And it was Chris Coy in the 42 and AJ Scarborough in the 5.
It is so hard to find cautions here. And we do have, let's go back and take a look here for you guys. So it looks like getting down to the turn number 1 here, or excuse me, turn number 3, checked up just a little bit. AJ Scarborough right into the back of him. That's one of those Martinsville things we mentioned. Some guys have a setup that is significantly better on corner entry. Some guys have one that's better through the center and off. And right there, it looked like that was Christopher Coy's setup.
And Kevin Cook, John, pits out a second.
And another close call, or an interesting call up front. Kevin Cook to pit road.
Charles Silver also pits out a 5th. And Stephen Massey pits out a 7th.
And I think this works great for Anthony Ditcher. He's going to be back up into 5th, and he's only got 10 laps on those tires.
Yep.
So a smart call there, knowing these cautions are going to be coming fast and furious tonight.
Not in any relation with the Fast and Furious 7 movie coming out here, John, coming up shortly. But Matthew George gets to wave around here with the lucky dog, and I'm not positive. Don't quote me on this, but I believe that will be AJ Scarborough's second caution cause already tonight, which would result in a DQ very early on in this race, John. And I believe two yellows have been caused by AJ Scarborough.
Just for our viewers at home and myself, what was the first one he caused?
I believe that first yellow when he got spun, or when he spun out off the corner, I believe that yellow flag was given to him and not Chris Coy.
Oh, okay. So the one we looked at where Chris Coy may have disconnected or had an issue into the wall, we believe it was for AJ. So AJ Scarborough's potential second yellow, which in ECR is a disqualification. He will take the last place finish if that's the case. A tough return. We mentioned he had the issues at Phoenix post-race and then suspended last week at Auto Club, and now in his return, not the return he wanted. So a very good start to the season for AJ, and now things starting to look a little bleak for that driver, that number 5.
Yeah, John, very unfortunate for him in his first return back.
And looking at things now, AJ Scarborough is parked, and I would have to think that that is for the night in his pit stall there, that number 5. Miller Genuine Draft Chevy SS, not the 91.
Talking with race control, John, the 42 of Chris Coy will be receiving the EOL there, and for, I guess, slowing up in the corner would be...
That's interesting to me, because just going
really
by the rules of the road, it's always the car behind that's at fault, always, no matter what the case of the car in front. Interesting call by race control. I can see where they get that because, you know, I don't know if Chris Coy slowed up, but he didn't get back on the gas.
It looked like he did slow down in the center of the turn, but early on in the race, I just feel like you have to be ready for guys to be slow in the center.
So a controversial call early on with race control, and we'll get you more details either after the race or next week. We'll talk more about it, but
Yep.
Interesting call to say the least. So AJ Scarborough remains in the race. He'll be, I believe, 2 laps down, maybe 4 laps down.
And if these guys double file up John Nick Groth on the inside, he's going to choose the inside, and I believe every leader today will choose the inside. So Nick Groth in the 19, Wayne Willard in the 01, Rob Burns in the 12, Sean Medling in the 37, and Anthony Titchener in the 87 in 5th place. Josh Mayhew on the outside of row 3. Nick Groth gets the green flag off
Nick
turn 4.
Groth does the same thing he did last time. Middle of the corner, and he's gone. He's not waiting for that straightaway, which is a problem if you're back in the pack. You cannot put the gas down in that corner.
Oh, Anthony Titchener gets into Rob Burns in the 12. Oh, no.
Didn't even have time to cycle through my cameras here. We already have a caution, so we'll look at it from the restart. Anthony Titchener, who hasn't caused a caution to my memory at all this year, just can't get it slowed up.
No.
What a job by Rob Burns saving that and keeping it off traffic.
Yeah. Very minimal damage to that number 12 machine, his X-Side batteries car, so great job for him. I believe Anthony will get the EOL on that, but just unfortunate. I mean, just going into a corner on a restart, John, at Martinsville, there's nothing you can really do about it.
And hopping on board here with Rob Burns, you can see there's just, as you mentioned, nothing he can do. He's going in the corner, he's running his line, and maybe he braked a little harder. Maybe Anthony was used to being back in the pack and having to drive under guys and just got in a little bit too hot and got into him. But a great job by Rob Burns of knowing where he's at on the track and knowing his surroundings, keeping that car down there in the grass. That could have been big.
And John, that could be potentially a race saver right there. He could, let's see, Anthony Fisher comes down pit road there. I'm guessing succumbing to his 3rd place position there, but I'm assuming Rob Burns did a very good job of minimizing the damage. As he's going to get caught behind the pace car, I don't think he's going to be able to pit. So he's going to have to take the wave around, which is a very unfortunate set of circumstances, but he did get caught behind the pace car there.
As we mentioned here in Martinsville, with the close racing, when someone gets turned like that, it's generally out of a corner. You see someone get spun, or just on entry. And when they get spun, it's up the track and out of the way. When someone gets spun, and maybe they overcorrect or they don't overcorrect, and they get the car down there on that bottom, that can very easily wreck 15 cars because there's nowhere to go. And you come in these corners so blind because they're so flat, and you can't see ahead of you. For those at home that have never been on Martinsville in an iRacing car, from the cockpit you just can't see. And so when a car spins like that, if he doesn't keep it in the grass, I mean, that could very easily have wrecked half the field, if not more. So I just want to give a call to Rob Burns again. A tough break for him and Anthony there, but what a job of holding on to that car, minimizing damage, and saving a lot of these guys a big headache.
Absolutely, John. I'm speaking as a driver in the league. These guys really need to settle down. They need to relax. They need to understand that there is still over 200 laps remaining. They have to give and take. I know it may not be the racer in them to give and take, but they have to give and take. They have to give these guys some room. And they have to just relax, John. Over 200 laps still left. But speaking from a broadcast standpoint, this is awesome. These guys can't get off each other. It's fun to watch. It's interesting to watch. And these guys are just going at it, balls to the walls.
Yeah, we mentioned that Martinsville is one of those tracks that I think groups in with a certain amount of tracks on the NASCAR schedule that are fan tracks and not necessarily driver tracks. We go Daytona, Talladega, Martinsville, Bristol, tracks like that that are so frustrating to drive, but they're so fun to watch. And then we go to tracks like Pocono or Darlington, maybe not Darlington, but certain tracks that drivers like to drive, but they're not so fun to watch. And Martinsville, one of those rare treats that we get where it's just so much fun to watch. These guys go out there and race so close, and as you said, from a driver standpoint, these guys are probably miserable. From a broadcast standpoint, this is fun to watch.
Absolutely, John. And how about Wayne Willard once again finds himself up front so far? Nick Groth doing a great job. He's led the most laps to this thus far in his number 19 machine. Sean Medling in the 37. Josh Mayhew, I haven't seen him up there in the top 10 all year long. In the top 5, I should say. He's running 4th right now. Joey Lamb in 5th. Luis Salmazo in 6th. And David Grosclose making his ECR Cup Series debut in 7th. Nick Groth is going to go right again, I'm assuming, right off the corner.
He gets such a good jump. That is absolutely crazy, the jump that Nick Groth gets off that restart. He is gone every single time. He'll pull way out. Wayne Willard, though, lucky for him, that gives him plenty of room to fall in line and leaves the rest of the pack to do the battling. And that they do. Kevin Cook pinned a little bit back in the pack. He's been a front runner on that. He's working inside the new guy.
Oh,
a wreck already. Josh Mayhew around. No caution out on the racetrack yet.
No caution.
Caution has to come out here, no?
Luis
and there,
Salmazo
caution
and
finally
Lamb.
thrown.
Or Josh Mayhew.
No idea why the caution took so long there. But you can see Luis Salzmo gets inside, jumps the curb, comes up into him. Good job by Josh Mayhew. Charles Silver nicked him a little bit. Josh Mayhew was going to spin that car back around and thought better of it. Saved himself a lot more damage. But no idea. He cost him so many spots getting that car turned around. No caution for a very long time there.
Once again, I'm not sure with that call. Obviously, iRacing, John, is not perfect. It does have its flaws, but race control, I mean, obviously you can't see the entire track. We didn't even see it, and I didn't even see it for a while, but these guys, it's all over track. I'm not sure why the caution didn't come out.
Going back-to-back cautions there, though, the 12 of Rob Burns, the caution came out before he even got that car sideways. The caution came out when his back end was stepped out. Here we've got a car that's turned completely sideways backwards on the track, and iRacing took a very long time to wave that caution flag. Certainly not race control's fault. iRacing's supposed to be there for them.
Actually didn't. Yeah, exactly. And iRacing actually never threw the call or threw the yellow like race control did.
So good job by race control to recognize that. You rely on iRacing. Race control's there more for things like lucky dogs and EOLs and things like that, not necessarily to throw the caution flag. When they do, it's a rarity. And usually it's for a car that's stopped off the track or a car that's spun in the place that iRacing doesn't recognize as being on the racing surface. Here there was a car parked backwards in the middle of turn 3 and 4, and they didn't throw the caution. So that blows my mind. Certainly one of those things on iRacing and virtual racing in general that are always funny to watch. But tough break for Mayhew there. I think he got away okay. I think Luis Salzmo did as well. Salmazo, excuse me. So no harm, no foul, but certainly something to look back on and a little bit comical there by iRacing. I don't think we have any pit road drama this time. I think the leaders for the most part stayed out.
And John, I'm just wondering where the discrepancy is right now with these drivers. Obviously, it's a small track. In these close quarters, and it's inevitable that you're going to hit somebody. But I'm just curious as to see why these guys just aren't relaxing. I mean,
taking that last caution as an example, we saw it in the truck race, or at least, you know, for those of you that watch the truck race, and a lot of people do, but there was a moment where I believe it was Suarez in the 51 had half a nose inside somebody, and they decided they were just going to turn down. And it's one of those things we saw there where Luis Salmazo didn't have anything inside Josh Mayhew there. He barely had his splitter up under his fender, and he just wasn't going to live. Textbook dive bomb there, I think, where if you've got half a car inside somebody and you've got the position to make the pass, go ahead. But right there, Luis Salmazo has to recognize, I think, at what point of the race we're in and what there is to lose there, just to kind of lift out of it just a little bit. You don't have to lift all the way out of it. Just break a little bit earlier and kind of give him that spot. Jump the curb, and obviously not intentional, but...
And I think you go back to what we saw earlier, John, with Justin Bland in the 65 did a great job of, you know, releasing off the throttle and getting in the brake and not hitting the 49 of Eric Vincent, and it saved both of them some damage and some time.
You have to leave a gap here. It's almost like rush hour on the highway. You really can't tailgate here as we get ready to go back green. You just got to leave a little room, and I think these guys will pick that up. But Nick Groth, again, your leader as we go green. Willard on the outside, and that 102.5 bone car hanging out.
Once again, he is gone.
And this time, the third place car was on it, and Wayne Willard's going to get stuck on the outside. Gross close, almost clips him down to the turn number 1. Close call there.
And I think, John, if these guys can just get separated from each other for about 5 laps, just stay green for 5 laps, I think the green flag run will come in itself.
It's much like Daytona, where if you can just get single file, the racing calms down quite a bit, or as much as it can. These guys just don't give each other time to get single file. We saw it at Phoenix, and we're seeing it again here. There's just, you got to give a little bit of room. As you see the 65 works inside a newcomer, the 83. He's going to make that pass, but Anthony Ditcher again charging in the front. He's probably passed the field about 3 times tonight.
I'm not sure how many quality passes he's made so far, but Nick Groth trying to open up a little gap. Like I said, he seems to be getting a lot better exit than everybody else, but not as good entry, which is scary at Martinsville, having these guys come in at such a big speed differential going into the turn, but it really pays off on exit.
And what I see Anthony Ditcher doing here as we ride on board is he's entering the corner about a lane and a half higher than everybody else, and he's getting such a massive run on exit. You see how early he brakes right there? That's what you have to do at Martinsville early on. You cannot expect that guy in front of you to run a smooth and clean line. You kind of have to expect him to be all over the place. And so, good job here of Anthony giving room. As I say, he runs up on the back, but good job of him making passes. He's working the outside right now. I don't think that's where you want to be, but he's doing a really good job of managing. You see, he's been through the field 3 times now. He's working on his 3rd time, and he's got no damage on that race car. His only
And I think,
incident was with the
John,
12,
that's
and that
gonna
was in
pay
the front
off.
of the pack.
And he's making a pass on the outside right now, John. We haven't seen that at all, ever, I don't think, at Martinsville. And he's doing a great job. He's making passes on the outside. That car's really working good for him.
Yeah, we talked to him pre-race. He said he didn't have a very good car, which in Anthony Titchener speak means he probably has a third-place race car, which I think he's showing right now. Ooh, a wreck. Gross close around. And again, no caution out. There it is. Now it's thrown. Parked backwards on the track.
Major left front damage, John, to that 28 machine.
We'll go back here and obviously get you guys a quick replay as he spins that. Ooh, that is major left front damage.
And he got spun, John, and Anthony Titchener did a great job avoiding that. But Aaron Vincent got into the back of the 28 there and spun him around and hit him in the left front again. But so not really sure what to say there. But John, I do want to point out that Douglas has received yet another Lucky Dog. He is only 1 lap down now.
And we mentioned Martinsville, if you're going to go laps down, do it early. Douglas Hess showing why. He's almost back on the lead lap, and if he gets back on the lead lap, I think he can make a run at this. He certainly has
Absolutely.
a fast car, started on the pole. By no means out of this race, no matter what damage he has to that race car. But right there with that incident with Aaron Vincent, just one of those things where, again, you don't want to be that close to somebody. He pushed just a little bit, lifted just a little bit, and Aaron Vincent was there, collected him, and luckily they got away again without collecting more cars, but another tough break. And really quick, I want to mention here, looking at the 6 car, I'm going to rewind really quick going down pit road, show you guys, well, I guess you guys saw it. That caster they run in that left front tire, the camber, excuse me, that's what makes that car so snappy when they put the throttle down right there. And that's why we've seen almost every car in the field with some kind of right side damage. You see it on all these cars at the straight shot here, all crinkled up in the right front, because when they put that throttle down, that car just does not want to go in a straight line. That would be why you saw it, Matthew Thunhorst unwillingly being our test car here tonight without a nose on it. But that would be why, and that's what we're seeing. I think a lot of these guys with the right front damage, now gross close with left front damage, kind of being the contradiction of that. But tough breaks for these guys. They're learning it, though. We're starting to see a bit of a slowdown in the cautions, but still a long way to go.
Absolutely, John. And I'm going to see if we can get a word here with our in-race reporter, Matthew Thunhorst. Matthew, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I got you.
What in the world happened? We saw it happen on the restart, but you have no front end, and you can't even see the logo of your Nationwide Insurance Chevrolet right now. What happened?
Green flag came out, and no one wanted to go on the high side, so I'm pretty mad about this. It's kind of ridiculous.
All right, man. That's very unfortunate. Obviously, you have a good car, and you got plenty of time to get the car fixed up. Is it suspension, or is it just all front end aero?
For the most part, as far as I know, it's front end aero, and we're getting it fixed. We've got about 2/3 of the damage completed, so we'll go from here and try to see what we got, and hopefully we got something good here. But
well, the good news is you're at Martinsville. Throw some bare bone on that thing and send it back out on the track.
yeah, we're giving Gorilla Tape a good sponsorship today.
All right, man. Well, good luck the rest of the day, man. Try to get that Nationwide Insurance Chevrolet fixed up and get back out on the track.
All right, thanks, y'all.
And as I said, that's the driver of our unwilling test car tonight without the front end on it there, Matthew Thunhorst. Tough break for him early. You can tell he wasn't too happy about it. It's one of those Martinsville things. You can't really be mad at anybody in particular. You're just mad at the track.
Green flag, green flag.
And just like that, we're back under green. Quick caution.
That was very quick yellow. I wasn't really expecting that, but here we go, John. 3 wide. It looks in the middle of the pack there. They got separated out. Single file off turn 2.
Apologies
and Nick
there.
Roth is loving this.
Caution laps, they go by very quick here. You see Kevin Cook working inside the 87, Anthony Titchener. Anthony's all the way back up to 6th, working on 5th.
Yep.
Looking like we know who the hard charger's going for about 3 times tonight. Anthony Titchener way up the track, though. Tough break there. He's looking to fall back in line here. He's going to get down behind the 65.
Well, John, that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is when you're on the outside here at Martinsville, or any track for the matter, but especially here at Martinsville, that you're so close to the wall, and if the guy on the inside pushes just the slightest bit, you're going up to the wall twice as much as he is, and it really throws you off your line, and it's really unfortunate to see anybody on the outside.
It's hard here, too, because you run so close to these guys that any little wiggle out of them almost kind of makes you overreact to it, and you can easily get your car with such a flat track that banking doesn't catch you, so if you wiggle that wheel right, you're pretty much going to be either in the wall or very slow off. So Anthony did it a little bit there. He got way high in turn 1. He's rebounding now, working over the 65, but not where you want to be, that's for sure.
And I tell you what, John, I am very impressed with the 19 of Nick McGrath right now, doing a great job in his number 19 EMS Chevrolet, and he's able to hold a steady lead over Wayne Willard in the 0-1, but is doing it very well. He's conserving his tires, trying to make this thing go on a long run, and he's doing his part very well.
And I want to give a quick call. Speaking of impressed, that number 83 of Will Prue, he's got all kinds of front end damage on him. This is his first race here in ECR, and he's running, look like he's going to get passed for 9th here, but running in the top 10. Doing a really good job hanging on to that race car. You saw him get some bumps earlier.
Hits
He's
the wall,
a
right
little bit, but that's that old MOTV curse we put on him. But good run so far by him. He's doing a good job of staying out of trouble. He's got some front end damage, but no major incidents. And I think he'll hopefully bring this car home to a good finish. He likes seeing the newcomers run well here.
Absolutely, John. It's always great to see them guys get their success done early here in iRacing, or in ECR, and try to get their confidence boosted up, their self-esteem, and it really helps those guys out in the future.
It certainly does. We mentioned that, especially at tracks like Martinsville, driver's track, confidence is so huge, and we know Matthew Thunhorse has got it. We know Anthony Thitzcher's got it. Honestly, Kevin Cook and Wayne Willard should have some of it too. They've run very well. But these newcomers, you know, it's nerve-wracking. It's not exactly as nerve-wracking as running in Cup, obviously, but it's nerve-wracking to come in here and race with these guys that you don't really know, and you want to make a good first impression. And they're doing a good job, I think. Running clean, really all you want to do is run clean and run well. And caution again on the racetrack.
And the caution is out. Not sure where.
Might have been Aaron Vincent. He was slow on the racetrack. I don't see any significant damage.
Well, it looks like right there, Stephen Massey, maybe? I believe it might have been Stephen Massey in the 97.
So we'll go back here about half a lap and show you guys Stephen Massey in the number 97 Haas
Stephen
Automation
Massey
Chevy.
in 97 in the 50.
Luis Salmazo, all kinds of trouble before that, bouncing it off the wall.
John, it looks like the 50 of Matthew George was just entered in a little high, I guess.
And that's one of those things, again,
the
where we're on
97
lap,
rolled the center better. And
we're on lap 74 of 250. There is no need to put your race car there.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, the race car in everybody, John, that makes them go to that spot.
Oh, I'm
Matthew
not
George
saying I would
is
do it
entering
any
the corner
differently.
a little slower. And yeah,
It's just one of those tough things to do as a race car driver. Where
it's a tough pill to swallow, John, when you're just there running your line and you get hit in the door from a guy trying to pass you when you're coming back down to run your line with the 175 laps to go. It's a tough pill to swallow for sure, and Matthew George definitely has to do so.
Yeah, it's rough because Matthew George, again, didn't really do anything wrong. He got off his line there, but you don't see it at most tracks. You know, when you wreck or you're in a wreck, you've done something wrong or you've just gotten unlucky. Matthew George didn't really do anything wrong, and neither did Stephen Massey. It's just one of those things where we're so early in the race, and that's just such a volatile situation when you get under somebody and there's that speed differential that you would like to see it not happen. He really did have a good chance of making a pass there, though. I can't criticize too hard, but a tough break and a rough break for Matthew George and Stephen Massey. Neither one of them really at fault here. It's just Martinsville.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And we got one driver, John. He's in 4th place right now, Joey Lamb in the 81. I'm gonna see if we can get a quick word with him. He's trying to get these guys' thought processes here through the yellow flags. Hey, Joey Lamb, this is Colin from up in the ECR broadcast booth. But you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, you're up in front of all the carnage right now. What are you, as a driver, what are you expecting out of these guys? Are you hoping for a long green flag to run? Or, like, we see these guys just forcing stuff, forcing issues, and you're out there just running your race. You guys top 8 or so, just out there trying to do your thing, and these yellows keep falling. What are you hoping for as a driver?
Right now, I'd like to hope see a pretty good long green flag run. That way I can get into a pretty decent rhythm and, you know, just kind of get comfortable with the car and log some laps and see where we are at the end.
Absolutely, man. You're running 4th place right now. You started 14th, obviously not what you wanted in the car, but you're running 4th right now. You're running consistent laps behind the 19, 01, 37. You're running good. Do you ever feel like you have a shot at this thing?
Well, just trying to finish this thing with this car in one piece, and we'll go from there, man.
Green flag, green flag.
Absolutely. I mean, going green flag right now. We'll let you go now, and good luck the rest of the day, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Once again, John, these caution laps go like crazy.
They do go quick, don't they? I promise that wasn't just me under the last caution. They go by so fast here.
Absolutely, and we're trying to get interviews with these guys, trying to get their thought processes through the yellow flags and through the insurmountable, so many yellow flags, and these caution flags go by so quick.
We talked before the race, over/under of 8. We're on 8 now, and we're barely a third of the way done, but not even a third of the way done with this race. So we're on pace right now for 24 caution flags tonight, which would be unheard of.
And John, that's not good. It's these guys need to relax.
When you come to Martinsville,
it's Martinsville, exactly.
You're going to get your most amount of cautions of the season here at Martinsville. We do every year. Excuse me, but it's just one of those things where you still hate to see it.
And I don't want to put a curse on anybody, John, but if you look up at Nick Groth, I believe he's the only car without a damn scratch on it so far.
He very well could be. Anthony Ditchner had the incident. Doesn't look like it hurt his car at all, but he does have a scratch somewhere on it. And another caution out on the racetrack.
Another yellow. Aaron Vincent in the 49 around.
So we'll go back, hit that replay button for the 9th time tonight. Racing there you see with Matthew Thunhorst behind him without the nose. Matthew Thunhorst, again, a textbook dive bomb. Don't think he tried to dive bomb. I think he tried to get out of it there.
Yeah.
Just couldn't check up quick enough, and I think that's maybe a little bit of net code as well on iRacing's part. But again, 9th caution of the night, probably going to be for somewhere around 46 laps. We've run over half of the race under caution, folks. So we do apologize for the viewers at home. We would love to see some green flag racing. Hopefully we will as we work through the night. But right now, certainly yellow fever here at Martinsville.
John, if you look back at that replay and that nose, that's a great shot right there, able to see how these drivers try to enter the turn. I have to say by myself, obviously probably not the intentions of the 6th car, but that was a damn good dump right there.
Yes, sir. If he was trying to wreck him, that was a very, very good job of doing so. I don't think that was the case.
I don't think he was trying to wreck him. I'm not trying to cause any drama or anything, but that was a very good textbook dump. He spun him out, able to get by it with no excess damage.
As racers, that was a very good dump. As broadcasters, there was no way that was intentional, but looking at it from a racer's perspective, if you're going to turn somebody, that's the way you want to do it right there. That is textbook. Obviously, we mentioned Matthew Thunhorst, no ill will there. He tried to check up and tried even to go high at the last second, but
I think that's just a point of getting into the corner too hard, not being able to see your braking point. Obviously, when he's on the inside, can't see his braking point on the wall, which is where most drivers have it, and it's just a factor of the two combinations.
And we mentioned Martinsville. You wouldn't really think it because it's such a small track, but with these flat corners, it's very hard to see your corner entry. It's very hard to see the track. It's hard to see the wall when you exit. It's really, you're kind of flying blind, and right there you can see Aaron Vincent checked up a little bit too soon, or maybe, as you mentioned, Matthew got in a little too hard, and he tried to miss him, but you can't turn the car under braking, and he just, maybe like I said, a little bit of net code even clipped him, and no harm, no foul. I think both those guys will drive away. Tough break for Matthew. It's an EOL on his record, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Here at Martinsville, you could cause a caution, when you sneeze, so you do not want an EOL. Certainly wouldn't want one on my record here going forward. We're not even a quarter of the way, or we are just past a third of the way through the race.
But I just want to point out, John, I figured now is a good time as ever. Right now we have 20 viewers watching our event, and I just want to thank you guys all out there. We've surpassed over 620 views in just 4 races. That's insurmountable. It's nothing of what we expected here at MOTV. And through 4 races, you guys are an amazing group to come out here consistently and watch our races and watch ECR, watch ECR's finest out here perform. And obviously not their best showing tonight, but you guys are still out there, and I just want to say thank you for that.
And as Colin said, just want to ditto everything he said there. A huge thank you. We wouldn't have any fun doing this if you guys weren't coming out and watching it. So a huge props to you guys sticking with us week after week. And we're getting ready to go green here, hopefully for a long green flag run.
Finally going to catch a restart, John. We're actually going to watch one here.
Yes, sir. It's been a few cautions. And Nick Groth gone again. They still cannot time that.
Wayne Willard got a lot of wheel spin right there. His number 0.
Coming out of that corner, it's really difficult not to spin the tires. I think that's why he's doing it.
And he gets loose, and Joey Lamb on the 81. So a nice slide job there by the 0-1.
45 hard into the corner, sliding up.
Oh, wow.
Good job by Anthony to see it and back off. That's one of those things where you just lock up the brakes and nothing you can do there. 45 going to make the pass. I don't think that's the way Kevin wanted to make the pass, but he'll get it done.
You know, Anthony Fisher, it's a little loose behind him there, but those guys are running 4th and 5th respectively. And I just want to point out, John, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe the top 4 right now, or excuse me, now top 3 and Joey Lamb in 6, have not yet to pit this entire race on 90-lap-old tires. Obviously, we haven't ran that many green flag laps, but 90-lap-old tires, and I don't know how many cycles those tires have gone through.
I wonder at this rate, like I said, I don't know the exact fuel window, but I wonder at this rate with the amount of cautions. Ooh, Anthony Titchener going to touch the 81 around. He goes.
Oh, boy.
And the 81
That's
around,
second.
and I believe that is Anthony Titchener's second EOL. I don't see how they can give that to anybody else.
He's got in there too
live.
hard.
We'll go back and take a look at it again here. Going to go on board, I believe, with Anthony. See what he saw getting into the corner. It's one of those things, again, he gets loose right there. He lets the 81 go high here.
And Ron Miller and David Gross-Close have no place to go, obviously.
And he just pushes and touched him, and then you mentioned right into the back of him. We'll go on board here with David. Already some heavy front end damage. You see the wreck happening in front of him. You can see kind of what he sees. He actually sees less than this. And right into the back of Ron J. Miller right there. Nowhere to go. And a tough break again for some guys that nothing to do with it, just Martinsville racing. So a huge turn of events there. Anthony Titchener, we imagine, would be his second EOL. And he is going to pull down pit road. I believe that's going to be it for him for the night. Remember, 2 EOLs is a disqualification. I don't think that'll be the last one we see tonight, folks. By any stretch of the imagination. We have, what, probably 6 drivers with 1 EOL? Actually, 9 drivers with 1 EOL, 1 with 2, so...
And John, after everything we've been through, after 90 laps, after starting on the pole and leading the first 2 laps, finally after 90 laps, Douglas Hess is on the lead lap once again.
So just to recap for those of you joining us here, Douglas Hess put his car on the pole. It's his first ECR Cup start here, subbing for George Price, who couldn't make tonight's event in that 48 Havoline Chevy SS. Lap 3 or lap 2, one of the two, he spun out. He went what was it, 5 laps down? 4 or 5 laps down.
Yeah,
and
4, I think it was 4 laps down.
The 10 cautions we've had in the first 93 laps, he has worked his way back onto the lead lap. So if there's one guy that's loving these cautions, it's Douglas Hess, and now he's perfectly fine if it goes green. And a good point by Nick Olson. We didn't really talk much about Martinsville being an equalizer, but this could really balance the points out. This is a track where guys that don't run well at other tracks run really well here, and then obviously Anthony Titchener, your points leader, disqualified. So I think the points are going to close up very tight tonight.
They're giving Joey Lamb the EOL.
Now see, I don't know. There's been some questionable calls here tonight with the race control. I don't know if they're looking at Martinsville racing or if they're looking at racing in general. That's a very odd call. I can't see what Joey Lamb did wrong there. I go back and look at it again if I could. My replay's not going to let me go back that far, but I cannot see. He went in, Anthony Titchener went in under him, slid up and turned him. I don't see what Joey Lamb did. We'll have to talk to race control and see what their thoughts on it are. But an interesting break. So forget everything we just said. The points are still just how they were. Anthony Titchener is going to stay in the event. And Joey Lamb gets tagged with the EOL on the 81 car. So another interesting race control call. I don't know how that AJ Scarborough one shook out, but I believe they did turn that one around and got that one right. But controversial call to say the least here with the 81 and the 87 getting together.
Yeah. I'm not really sure about that, but either way, the call happened. It's the 81's EOL, and Nick Groth is going to lead him back down to green. John with Sean Medling and Wayne Willard right behind him.
Oh my goodness, we're green already, Colin. Nick Groth on the jump again. These cautions go by so quick. And
so
he is clear again. There is every caution. There's a whole bunch to talk about, and they just don't give us time.
3 wide off turn 2, John. That's for 6th.
3 wide with Will Prue. We gave a call to him earlier. Sails it on the outside. Is going to pull it out and clear Charles Silver. Smart move there by Charles. I think he lifted a little bit early, knowing that probably going to pull down across his nose. And caution again on the racetrack.
Yellow flag.
Looks like it might be for Douglas Hess in the 48. No, it's going to be the 78 getting together, I believe, with Aaron Vincent.
It looks like they're 3 wide. 49, hit the curb into the 78, and the 97 went on. And yeah, I guess the caution should have definitely came out right there.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's in the middle of the corner.
78 stop right there, but yeah,
so we're going to go on board here with Aaron Vincent. You can see he thinks he has a lane. The 78 has a car on his outside. He comes down. He just touches the curb. And
See,
up he goes.
at that point, John, I just don't think the 49 knew he had a car on the outside of the 78.
Well, it's actually, we'll go completely on board here in his cockpit, and we'll see right out of his eyes one of the few advantages we have camera-wise with virtual racing here. So you see what he sees here, and he cannot see at all that car on the outside. All he sees is the door of Ron. So going into the corner there,
he can't see Ron Miller's 3 wide.
he's thinking that Ron's going to give him room, and Ron, I know, would give him room. I know Ron races very, very clean and respectful, but Ron can't because he's got a car pinching him, and he comes down just a little bit and taps him onto that curb. So
yeah,
another one of those Martinsville deals where you just cannot get away from it here. And that might be Aaron Vincent's second EOL, and he might be DQ'd. I'm
I
not
believe
sure
it is.
the story with that either. Again, folks, we promise those new viewers out there, this is not the consistent quality of ECR that we bring you. This is just Martinsville.
This is
we have had, I believe, in the last 2 weeks, 11 cautions combined over
maybe
500 something miles of racing. And tonight we've ran 50 miles, and we've had 11 cautions. So again, we sincerely apologize. Those of you that are new, if you do want to throw the channel a follow, we are live every Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern. Probably not the best time to throw you this promo. We don't have a lot of time. We are live here every Tuesday night, 9:30. If you want to follow Moist_online on Twitter, ECR_league, you're more than welcome to do so. All the links are down below to the website, to everything like that. If you're interested in joining iRacing or signing up for the league, all those links are in the description, as well as on the league page. You'll find most of them. So those are all down below. Here, Tuesday nights about 9:20, we go live. 9:30 is qualifying, 9:40 green flag, and we promise wholeheartedly that this is not generally the type of racing that they run here. I think we go to Vegas next week in our first off week. We do a race, so that'll be much better. And then we go to Bristol. So
Texas, then Bristol, I believe.
So Texas and then Bristol. So
which
maybe
I
a
think
bit
is
of a
going to be
break
great,
there.
John. I think we can get 1.5 miles back to back. I think that's going to be a great job for these guys to be able to get out of this short track field until Bristol. I think Bristol is also. I think Bristol races more like a mile and a half, obviously, than Martinsville does.
Yeah, Bristol's
If you know
more
what
of
I
your
mean,
true
I'd say
short
that.
track.
Bristol, you're able to race side by side at Bristol for consecutive laps. It's great racing. It's a lot of fun. You get a lot of short track racing with that side by side feel. Bristol's along with Richmond. There's a lot of good racing involved.
Yeah, Martinsville is really, I think, the only true old school short track they run on the schedule. Obviously, they used to run things like Rockingham, and the ARCAs still run, or not the ARCAs, the K&N still run a lot of traditional short tracks. But Martinsville really one of the more flat, kind of traditional skid pad short tracks these guys run. Bristol obviously is more like a mile and a half, even more like a super speedway of short tracks. We get ready to go green here again. Nick Groth hasn't really had to race for the lead. He just jumped on the restart and fell into the caution. So he is gone again, and here we go.
Here they come. Oh, Wayne Willard into the outside wall. Sean Medley into the back of him.
And 4 wide down to the turn number 1. Charles Silver inside the 37. 12 and the 83 make contact. Wayne Willard way up the hill.
3 wide, Charles Silver, Wayne Willard.
And Wayne Willard's going to get turned. Ditcher gets a piece of it.
Matthew, oh, boy.
And another big pile up. Cars coming to a stop on the backstretch. And Wayne Willard, he's had some issues all night long on the restarts, and they really, really bit him there. We'll go back here and look. I don't really want to, but we'll go back here and take a peek. Sean Medling just not expecting him to be stopped there. Up off the corner. Luis gets a piece. 97 gets a piece. 61. The 5 into the back of the 81. Obviously going to go back again.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cars involved in that, John.
We'll hop on board here with
Joey
Anthony
Lamb
Ditchner.
and AJ Scarborough, Douglas Hess all just come to a stop.
You can see the chaos of the restart here. He's got really nowhere to go, nowhere to even think about going. Off the corner at 37, just doesn't expect him to be stopped. And ooh, Chris Sercoy back across the track hard into Anthony Ditchner. I didn't see that second contact. That's our first big wreck of the night, and that took out a lot of good cars.
Anthony was all right until Chris Sercoy bounced off the wall. And
yeah, Anthony was okay. He had some front end damage. He drove through it, but then Chris Sercoy just nothing he could do. He's turned out of control and just back across the track.
A lot of cars involved in that, John. A lot of good cars involved. Another back-to-back weeks, Wayne Willard has a great run going and gets just a simple mistake, and it ruins his night. That's unfortunate.
And it's one of those
John,
things.
I think it's fair at this point to say Nick Groff is the only car without any damage on his car.
Yes, sir. I believe at this point, just by being out front, Nick Groth is the only one that has not banged or rolled into somebody throughout this race. You see we're working our 12th caution. for 58 laps. Now exactly half the race has been run under caution. Again, those of you that are new, we promise the quality of racing will go up from here. It's just one of those Martinsville nights out here. Tuesday night short track racing, taking its toll on these guys. Not only patience, but for some cases probably health. These guys getting beaten, banged all kinds of around.
Oh yeah.
So Christopher Coy with one of the nastier licks I've seen at
Hard
Martinsville,
hit,
period.
42 car.
You only go
Hard
68 miles an hour here, so.
Yep.
Hard shot for Christopher Coy. That car's all tore up.
And John, Anthony Fitchner, our points leader, we mentioned him earlier in the race. It doesn't look like he's going to leave today with the points lead, as he goes 1 lap down and about to go 2 laps down.
No, that number 87 Jim Beam Chevy all beat up. You mentioned he caught the first piece of the wreck, he was okay. But then that second lick just,
yeah.
I mean, you may as well have been at Daytona at that point. He just got popped. So, tough break for Anthony there. Nick Groth, though, I mean, honestly, at this point, if I had to pick somebody to win, just by being out front with the way this race is run, Nick Groth a good pick.
I don't want you to forget that 45 Star Wars Chevrolet out there. And how about Will Prue? His first start in ECR. First start period, driving for the number 9 car. Nick Gillis running 4th right now, and Charles Silver running 5th as well. So a lot of good guys out there as we're getting ready to go restart. Nick Roth still on those old tires, be able to get the great restart as he does right there.
Kevin Cook not going anywhere this time, right on his bumper, going to take the outside lane, looking down in the turn number 1. Kevin Cook pinches him.
Kevin Cook, oh, I had to lift out of it.
What a drive by Kevin Cook. He saw a shot and he took it.
Hey John, I'm going to take a wild guess. I'm going to take a guess and say that this is going to have a little green flag run to it, 30, 40 laps at least.
I would pay money to see a green flag run right now. Colin, my fingers hurt from clicking that replay button. I would not mind seeing these guys get about 50, 60 laps in green here, just to sort the field out and see who's got what.
Exactly.
At this point, the winner could come from 10th position. We don't know what these guys' cars could even do yet.
And right now, Stephen Massey and AJ Scarborough, we mentioned the coveted Lucky Dog spot. Those two, the 97 and the 5, are racing for the Lucky Dog spot. 97 currently holds that advantage.
And just a quick mention, our in-race reporter, Matthew Thunhorse, we look at him here. He has no front on his race car at all. And that's from like a lap 20 incident. He was all the way back a couple laps down in 15th or 16th. He's now running 7th and keeping pace with the leaders pretty well. And that's Martinsville in a nutshell right there. No front on the race car.
Yep.
A couple laps down, and now he's back in it. If he gets a few more lucky breaks here, might even have a shot at the top 5.
I don't see why not, John. And he has a fast car. He might even have a shot at the win, for all we know. And David Gross close, Luis Salmazo, Douglas Hess. Douglas Hess is running 11th right now, John, out of all this.
He wrecked on lap 3.
2 wrecks. Oh, my goodness. And
Went
Kevin Cook
6 laps down.
Back of him.
And now running behind Luis Salmazo, who's been in just about every wreck tonight from what I've been able to see. That car is all beat up and through no fault of his own.
And how about Chris Coy, John, after that huge wreck on the backstretch, is still in the lead lap.
And he's fine. He's probably the least damaged car out of the whole wreck. The car that we said was a nasty shot, Daytona wreck, this, that, and the other. And he's out there in 13th position, not even a lap down, and running
two words,
John.
iRacing logic.
Yes, sir. That does tend to be what happens. The wreck physics here are quite odd. One of the disadvantages of virtual racing for some, the advantage to people like Christopher Coy is the cars don't always sustain the damage that they show, and that was a good showing there by Christopher Coy of how that works. He bounced off the wall, bounced off Anthony, bounced off the wall again, and he's out there cruising around. Meanwhile, cars that have been simply spun out tonight in the garage. Kevin Cook, I think, wants that lead.
I think he's being really patient. I think he's forcing the 19 to run harder than he wants to. As he crosses him over right there, he has to run Kevin Cook to the inside for the lead down the backstretch into turn 3.
And looking at the gaps right now, these two race, you've got 1.5 to Justin Bland and then 3 seconds back to the 4th position, Charles Silver. These cars, with the amount of damage I think they've sustained throughout the night, you're going to start seeing who can even run race pace anymore. And I think right now Nick Groth and Kevin Cook might be the only ones.
Gives 19 a little shot off turn 2. Saying he's not going to try to wreck him. He's just saying, hello, I'm there. I'm here. He just wants to give him that heads up.
Showing him the nose would be one way to put it, or maybe making him feel the nose a little bit there. Just a little bit of a bump, a little hello shot. Let him know that he does plan on passing him, not that he just wants to ride. That's generally the way you do it here at Martinsville. You know, other tracks might be a hand signal, might be something of the spotter, but here it's just a little tap. Let the guy know that you're not there to ride. And
yep.
See how he races you from there. But these guys gapped way out on the field. Now they're starting to string out, and now we might start to see some green flag laps.
John, I don't want to jinx anything, but we are currently in our longest green flag run of the day, 13 laps so far.
So for all you folks at home that were dying for that green flag run, it's Justin Bland, as we mentioned. Justin Bland snap loose off the corner, saves it though.
And Charles Silver up to third place, John, and he's running just about the same lap times as Nick Groth and Kevin Cook right now in that third position, that number 7 machine. I'm not even sure what sponsor that is, because that car is just all sorts of pretty. It's a lot of colors on it, a lot of damage on it, and his number 7 machine down the backstretch in third place.
And he's got the best seat in the house for this lead battle right now. He might go on
Kevin
board with him
Cook,
for a
it
little
is
bit.
him another shot.
Going on board here now with Kevin Cook. He is all over the back of the 19. The 19's got to be careful right now. This is not the time you want to jeopardize your race car. Kevin Cook's not going to wreck you, but he might beat that back bumper off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, John. And I think if you stay on this bumper, you're going to see quite a bit of contact between the 45 and the 19. Just saying, hello, I'm here.
And something we talked about pre-race that we haven't had a chance to even mention in the race so far is passing lap traffic. This isn't a track that is very lap traffic friendly. See, they catch a 78. Not that the lap traffic holds them up, just that it's not wide enough to pass. And even when they go all the way to the top lane, it can really, really cause some issues with exiting, with entering, with different things. So.
And at points, John, with lap traffic, you'll see the guy in usually second place will use that lap traffic as a pick of sorts, as basketball term anyway, for lack of a better term. He'd use him as a pick. He'd try to pass him on the inside and make him get stuck behind the outside car on the lap down.
It is certainly something we see a lot at short tracks, or really any track in general, mainly at short tracks with the braking points where, as you said, he'll just kind of set the car up behind him and then kind of slam it under him, and the guy has nowhere to go. So they work past Ron just fine there. Kevin Cook backed off a little bit to give him some room. Obviously, we're only just now coming to halfway, so still a lot of racing left. I know it's felt like a very long night, but we are just approaching halfway. Certainly nowhere near the end of this race yet. These guys finally strung out. And at this point, Colin, I don't want to start jinxing stuff or talking too far in the future, but if we stay green, we might finish with only 3 cars on the lead lap. Because at the rate these guys are going, they're going to lap the field.
Oh, we got a caution out. 5 car of AJ Scarborough.
Should have kept my mouth shut.
That's his third. I'm going to take a guess and say that's his 3rd yellow.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what
there's
happened.
some guys
I'm
in
gonna
this
go back
field.
And look at it. Yeah, he just got loose. The 5 car got loose there off turn 2.
Coming off too low off the corner there. That's hard front end impact there. That might be his night. Yeah, he immediately tows that race car to the garage. Not even going to try to drive it back around. Some guys out there that are...
And now I wouldn't be surprised to see some leaders. And Nick Groth does. 19, his first pit stop of the day. And Kevin Cook stays out. Charles Silver, I think Kevin Cook might be the only leader to stay out right there, John.
And that is not good for Kevin Cook.
But he's going to lead a lap. He's going to get that bonus point. He's going to try to close that gap because if the race were to end right now, John, he'd be the points leader.
That is true, and with the amount of cautions we've had, and I hate to go back to it, but at this point, being in the lead might just win you the race by default. We might not even have that much more racing left. So Nick Groth pits, and what I find interesting about this, though, with Kevin Cook is looking at the intervals, they had 4 seconds over 3rd place. And if you're Kevin Cook, we say it every week, why would you
risk it?
Why would you gamble when you have nothing to gain and everything to lose?
Yeah.
But he does, and
I do want to point out, John, that Mark Figueroa has finally came back out on the track after his caution early on in the race. He's 71 laps down, currently in the 23rd position.
And iRacing did add a system in here where once you do blow your motor, and it is terminal, what used to be terminal, you can now replace your motor. It takes 1/2 hour of repair time, and I believe that may be what happened there to Mark Figueroa. Lucky for him, if there is any luck involved in that. We have run most of that under caution, so he hasn't gone as many laps down as he could have, and that could work out with the amount of wrecked cars and EOLs and DQs and stuff that he might be able to pick up a few spots because of that. But your leader, Kevin Cook, you said it all night long, he's probably got the 2nd best car left in the field and making his way to the front.
Honestly, if I was a betting man right now, and I want somebody to get a good run on this restart, look for that 7 car of Charles Silver. He's in the catbird seat. He's the first car on 4 fresh tires on the inside. And I'd rather start 5th here than 2nd.
But you also got to keep an eye on
AJ Scarborough's night is over, by the way.
So AJ Scarborough and his return going to be DQ'd, not the return he wanted by any stretch of the imagination, not the race any of these guys wanted, to be honest, except maybe Nick Groth, who still has somehow managed not to tear that race car up. But what I was going to say is, not to contradict your point, but Nick Groth on the outside with 4 fresh tires, he might be able to just outdrive Kevin Cook on the outside. We've mentioned there's not a lot of laps on Kevin's tires, but they don't exactly have the grip that he'd want them to, especially when they cool down a little bit. Nick Groth might be able to just power move on the outside. I don't think he'd try it this early on, but something to keep an eye on here.
Oh, don't count anything out here, John.
Might junk half the field in turn 1, Colin. You never know what the way this night's gone. Working.
Here we go, John. We're going to restart here.
13th caution of the night. These guys looking to get going for the 14th
laps
time.
left.
120 laps left. What is that,
Kevin
60
Cook
miles?
And Nick Groff. 60 miles only. That's it. That's it.
It's been the longest 60 miles of our life, brother. Here we go. Coming out of turn number 4. It's going to be Kevin Cook this time. He's going to get the jump. Nick Groff gets a taste of his own medicine. Kevin Cook spins the tires. He's coming back up.
Charles Silver hard.
Charles Silver nowhere to go.
Oh, my goodness.
Just a little bit of contact on Charles Silver. I think he's going to get away. Kevin Cook
oh my gosh.
was not ready for the amount of wheel spin on those old tires and just could not hang on to it.
Charles Silver with major damage in that 7 machine right now.
So we're going to go on board here. Get you backed up here to the start. We're going to go on board with Kevin Cook. You can hear the throttle goes down and the back end just doesn't grip. Tried his best to keep it out of harm's way, but Charles Silver hit that hard. Try to go back here and get you a view on board with Charles Silver. Charles Silver stays out on the racetrack. I do believe.
I don't think pit road is open that time.
That may be the issue there.
I think it's open this time by right here.
So going on board here with Charles Silver, you can see he picked low and just nowhere to go. He picked wrong. It's plain and simple, nowhere to go.
And,
what a tough break for Charles Silver.
Kevin Cook is not one of those guys to make those type of mistakes. And
no, Kevin Cook always a very cautious, respectful race car driver. Not a guy at all you expect to see spin out there, but
it's just that sort of situation where you're on older tires. You want to get the biggest lead that you possibly can, and you make a mistake in doing so. And it's a mistake. It's all that is. And we see a lot of these guys making mistakes, and I think every caution so far has just been a mistake. It hasn't been a bad judgment call. It's just been a mistake. And simple as that right there for that number 45 Star Wars Chevrolet. Major damage to that side.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I feel so bad for Charles Silver because he did the right thing. He saw the car wreck and he saw him turned up towards the wall, and so he thought, well, I'll just speed by it low. And by the time he got there, I mean, really, Kevin Cook did the right thing, too. He spun out and he took it to the inside wall, but Charles Silver just there at the wrong time. And it's one of those Martinsville things. These concrete walls are a lot closer together than they look, and Charles Silver caught really in the gauntlet right there. Good job by Kevin Cook to miss everybody else. I mean, I guess getting out of the leader, spinning off the restart with only one damaged car isn't bad, but awful break, and we're under our 14th caution of the night. We're coming to our 70th lap of caution, more than half the race. I guess we'll take this time again. If you guys do want to come back, we are live every Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern time here on this channel. We do apologize again for the amount of cautions tonight. It's obviously out of our control. We usually run pretty caution-free, honestly. I mean, it's usually 2, 3, 4 cautions, nothing more than average. Tonight, just a glaring eyesore in terms of cautions. So tough break for these guys racing out there tonight, and we do apologize, but follow us on Twitter. There you see my Twitter, Colin's Twitter, the ECR League Twitter, and the Moist Online Twitter on your screen right now at ECR League at ECR_League at Moist_Online. We are live here every Tuesday night at 9:30. I do encourage you to check out the ECR website down below for links to our Facebook page and different things like that. You guys can check those out. I do recommend you like us on Facebook. That's where most of the discussions and things like that go down with league rules and changes and things like that. So we thank you for hanging out tonight and dealing with these cautions. We do apologize again for everybody hanging out at home with us. We're not enjoying it too much more than you are with these cautions. We're getting through it, and we look forward to Vegas next week.
Speaking of that, John, Las Vegas next week, we're getting ready to go for the restart here, but Las Vegas next week, it's anyone's game. You're going to see a lot of guys who ran well at Atlanta. Obviously, Aaron Berge won. I'm not sure if he's going to be here next week, but Anthony Fisher ran second. So a lot of these guys are going to see the mile-and-a-half system try to come into play, and I think you're going to see a lot of the core drivers going to run well next week as the green flags back out. Nick Groff with a great restart.
Nick Groff is the only one all night that can make that restart stick, and I think Kevin Cook tried some out of his wheelhouse and maybe just cost him a little bit there. Nick Groff really been the class of the field all night long, just about every category.
And John, don't count out Rob Burns in that 12. We talked to him earlier. He said he felt good on the long run if they can get a long run, and he's running second right now, John. Don't count the 12th part out.
And I want to mention something our chat's talking about. Charles Silver didn't pit there, and I think it's costing him quite a bit. He's dropping like a rock right now. Sean Medling, Matthew Thunhurst, everyone. I can't imagine why you wouldn't pit there. There's only...
I think maybe he wanted to test out and see how bad the damage was and see if he could drive on it. I think it's fixable. Obviously, he's probably going to be slow at the tail end of the straightaway, but it's definitely probably fixable.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's just a little bit tore up to race on right now. He kind of got put in a bad spot on the restart. He's hanging on okay now. The 48's going to move inside of him here. It's just, whoa, the 48, man. People are just overdriving the entry to these corners like crazy.
Yep.
Sean Medling did it. The 48 just did it. Now the 12, as you said, through, and he's working on the back of the 19.
And I tell you what, John, that lead, the gap for the lead is closing quick. Rob Burns wants that lead, and Nick Groth doesn't want to give it up. Rob Burns closing in 6 car lengths behind the leader right now.
Someone in our chat just mentioned
another 10th
that
right there.
if you're in a race car right now on the lead lap, or not even on the lead lap, a lap or two down, you have a shot. We've seen the leader wreck twice tonight. We've seen multiple car accidents all over the racetrack. No one's out of it right now. Nick Groth and a caution. Speak of the devil.
Will Prue in his first race here, John, running up in the 5th position, and the 83 just got in the wall and get loose, and the 48 of Douglas Hess there did a great job on minimizing his damage.
What a move by Douglas Hess in the 48. My goodness. That is one of the hardest moves to pull off reaction time-wise. When you see that car come across the track, you're full lock on the brakes and then let it roll to keep it from spinning. Great move. We're going to go on board, actually, with the 48. I want to give props to that move big time there. But tough break for the 83. We talked about it all night long.
And Charles Silver does come down pit road this time, John.
So you see here the 48, and then all of a sudden, there's a car in your windshield. Great job by the 48. He did tap just a little bit, but nothing major on the end of the 48. Good job by him, but we mentioned Will Prue, one of the hardest to pronounce last names if Anthony hadn't told about it. Running up front all night long and a tough break there. I don't know how bad his damage is, but certainly not what he wanted to see tonight.
And John, after everything we've been to, Sean Medlin got involved in that big wreck with Wayne Willard. Matthew Thunhurst has been involved in seemingly every wreck. Joey Lamb got caught up in that wreck with Anthony Thisner. Douglas Hess, he's out there. Luis Selmzo has been at how many wrecks, John? We've had 14 yellows, 15 yellows, and I think he's been in at least 6 of them. And David Grosclose seems to be in every single wreck. Chris Sarkoy's got major damage. Matthew George has major damage. Nick Groth is the safest car on track right now.
And even being the safest car, we saw Kevin Cook make, I mean, what was an unbelievable mistake. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it happen. I knew there was wheel spin, but I had no idea it was nearly that bad. No one's safe. I mean, Nick Groth, he's got a clean race car, and he could easily come by the start-finish line one lap after the caution with no motor in it. So he's certainly my bet right now. The 12's got something for him, I think, and Sean Medley made a hard charge for the field as well. But Nick Groth certainly in the driver's seat right now as we're coming to just about 105 laps to go in this event.
And John, as this race winds down, the tempers are starting to get raised up. We hear on the radio chatter right now, the 6 and the 81 seem to be arguing, but definitely have some words to say for each other, and they're starting 4th and 5th right now. So maybe a little drama going on here. The temper's starting to flare. Late as the lap started to close down here with just over 100 laps to go.
There's a very good chance that if you get inside of 100 laps to go and there's a car anywhere near you, you probably don't like that guy. And I think we're seeing that right now is these guys are just so frustrated. I mean, you think we're having a bad time up here in the broadcast booth and at home watching these cautions. It is absolutely miserable to pace for 76, 77 laps we're going to be when we come back around. These guys are frustrated, and it doesn't go to help that when we're under green, they're getting bumped and banged and beat into. So I wouldn't be surprised if tempers start to flare. I'd hate to see them take it out on each other because that's just more yellow flags, and that's the last thing we need. But I'm telling you, Matthew Thunhurst is another chatter mentions he's got that Gen 6 modified up to 4th, and he's certainly got a good shot to get a podium finish here as the pace car's off, and Nick Groth going to take him back green.
Here we go, John. We got 15 cars on the lead lap, and coming off turn 4, Nick Groth gets that green flag, and he's gone. Rob Burns trying to stay with him. I think Rob Burns does have something for him, John.
Oh, a dive bomb by the 20, not the 28, excuse me, the 72 gets into somebody. It was a 28. Grosclose, just not any break in that race car. Gonna go back and take a look at it. He just came straight through that corner with a head of steam, and I'm not sure he ever touched the brake. or Luis might have just checked up early.
Wow.
What a job by those drivers holding on to it there.
I don't know how Luis Thomasville kept that one straight, but a great job by the 72 right there. That was a nice job.
Yeah, what an amazing job by both drivers to hold on to the race car. Not sure what happened there, but that's going to stack the field way up. The gap is now 3 seconds outside of the top 5. And that 12
John,
is their
sure.
Colin, as well as the 37 and the 6.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if we can go back on that next caution and take a look at that replay there on that restart there by the 28 and see if maybe his throttle hung or what really happened there.
You know, I think what happened, almost looking at it, just that quick glance I got, was Luis saw that there was a battle going into the corner, and I think he just checked up early thinking, you know, what's the point of shoving a race car in there? And I think the 28 almost panicked and maybe went full lock on the brakes, realized he was full lock, lifted as he rolled through him. But
car stopped on the backstretch as he exits his toe. Sorry about interrupt you there.
Oh, no problem. Who knows what's going on here tonight? We got cars parked. We had cars stuck in the wall. We've had 15 cautions. I wouldn't put anything out of the books tonight. As finally we hit under 100 laps to go, 99 to go that time by. Your leader, Nick Groth. You see your top 4 here from the blimp. 12, 37, and the 6 in the Gen 6 Modified hanging on to the back of this pack.
Joey Lamb not trying to stray too far back, John. He's closing down that front pack. As Nick Roth through the top 5 and Joey Lamb seemingly untouchable right now as compared to the rest of the field.
You know, someone mentioned in chat really quick the 19 in his restarts. The one thing I saw him do different than what Kevin Cook did, where he lost the back end of the car and spun out, is he comes off the corner almost diamonding on the restarts. When he gets on the gas, his left tires are almost on the curb, and he drives that car straight out to the middle of the 2 lanes, which is legal as long as he doesn't change lanes.
Yes.
And I think the 45 tried to just keep it down and snapped it.
And maybe a coincidence, but in Anthony Fisher in his recent weeks, as he's currently 23 laps down in the 18th position, struggling today, but he's got back out on the track. But in his recent weeks, he's dominated. And what he's been so good at, John, is restarts. And maybe, I believe, I'm starting to see a trend here that the key to winning and running well is great restarts.
It's a very, very underplayed part of racing in general, at any level, I think, is the restart game. I think it's something that the best drivers in Cup focus on. You see Jimmy Johnson focus on it. You see Jeff Gordon focuses on it. Has struggles of late, but these guys focus a lot on restarts because when you're up towards the front of the pack, that's your only time to pass. Especially at tracks like this, where if you don't get a good restart, we see it all the time, especially late race. Guys will lose 10 spots on a restart or win a race on a restart, and that's something Nick Groth and Anthony Titchener have gotten down very well. Is they're on it and gone before these guys have a chance to get to their bumper, and it's paying off dividends for Nick Groth right now. He hasn't been touched all night long. See a battle right now for the 2nd position. Sean Medley in that 102.5 the bone. Luckily, finally calling his number late into a race. He's had some issues the last few weeks, but working that car. Oh, and as I say that, up into the wall.
I love calling that John, that number John. If you can get close up to that car, it's all beating and banging. But that 102.5 the bone Chevrolet still chugging along, running 3rd place right now, and a great sponsor, a great paint scheme, and a great guy overall. Running 3rd is Rob Burns, really close to get on Nick Groth right there.
Wow, and he's going to turn him, Nick Groth!
Oh my goodness.
Slides it, saves it, what a save, and what a great job of giving him room, and Sean Medley says, I've had enough of this.
Oh my goodness, 3 wide for the lead. Sean Medling to the lead. We just talked about him in that 102.5 the bone car.
And Nick Groth tires are hot.
Oh my goodness. And just like that, the tables flip, and Sean Medling is the leader at Martinsville.
What a turn of events, and what a great job of the 12 and the 37 to give him room to gather that race car. But Sean Medling was not going to miss his opportunity, pounced on it to the lead, and now Nick Groth struggling with a car with very, very warm tires.
Wow. Just like that, John. What a great move by Sean Medling to hesitate just enough, but not too much, and able to make that 3-wide move down into turn 3, outbrake his other competitors into the lead at 37 car.
And as we say that, he jumps the curb. No, the 19 not at all going to be pleased with the 12 there, giving him a hard shot in the middle of the corner. That is Martinsville racing, though. I do want to give a quick apologies. I had changed scenes back to the ticker and broadcast camera there, but I don't think OBS picked it up, so I was clicked on a different window. So apologies there. Thank you to Colin for pointing that out. Should have your ticker and your different overlays back up now. Sincerest apologies again. It's been that kind of night here tonight, folks, and trying to survive it just like you guys are. But I would not be surprised if the 19 has some serious payback for that 12 when he gets
and they're coming up right now, John. I would not put it by anybody. I would do it.
And there it is. There's a shot, and I don't think that's all he's going to get.
I don't think that's the end of it.
No, Nick Groth, he's a very mild-mannered driver, but that was borderline dump right there.
When Nick Groth has dominated the race as he has today, and you get punted like that, and the 12 didn't even really try to make a pass on him.
No, we mentioned earlier that a lot of the stuff here is incidental. It just it doesn't feel incidental when it happens. And
Exactly.
Nick Groth,
Exactly.
The payback will certainly not be incidental if he can get back to that bumper. And again, no ill will from us at all towards anybody in this race, especially the 12. We're not saying that was a dirty move by any means, but from the cockpit of Nick Groth's race car, as Colin said, when you've been the dominant car all night long, you've kept all your fenders clean, and then someone just runs you over like that, incidental or not, that gets the blood pressure
And
up.
the 6 of Matthew Thunhorse looks to the inside of 19 Nick Groth as he's really struggling with the handling of that car after that. And seemingly, I'm assuming that tires got superheated, but I'll tell you who's loving this, and that 37 is Sean Medling. He didn't even turn a practice lap, John. Did not turn one practice lap, went out unqualified, 16th on the grid, way back in the pack, and is leading this race with under 100 laps to go.
And we mentioned Martinsville, one of those tracks that they say track position's everything, but through turn of events, as we've seen tonight, you can certainly work your way through the field by more than just passing cars, and through some lucky breaks, he's got himself out there in that lead. And certainly set up on a Sunday drive right now. These guys over a second back. Or Tuesday night drive, excuse me.
But Sean Medling is really loving this, John. Really pacing the field right now by over a 10th a lap faster than anybody else on track.
And I'm still watching this battle. Nick Groth, we mentioned a few weeks ago with A.J. Scarborough at Phoenix when he made some mistakes after he got wrecked. He went back in the back of the pack, and he kind of maybe drove with a bit of a heavier foot because he was a little upset. Tonight, Nick Groth seemed to have done the same thing for a few laps. He was obviously quite irritated inside the race car, and he stepped on the gas a little too hard. He got on the brakes a little too late. He's kind of gathered it back in now. I think if he can keep his composure, he's still obviously got the race car. See, there he overdrives way hard in the turn number 3. He can still get back up there, and I think he might still have something for Sean Medley. He's just got to keep his head on here.
And John, and it goes back to what we were talking about with Charles Silver and just a young atmosphere. You get ticked off so easily, and you just have to feel like you have to get retaliation. You have to get, and I struggle with that in my own official races and in the league as well. I struggle with, if someone does me wrong, I feel like I have to go back and do that. And 2 wrongs don't make a right, John, and simple as that. And the 19 has to understand that, and he has to go back out there and just do his job, which is try to get the best finish he possibly can.
I think anyone that climbs behind the wheel of a race car struggles with that because it's such a competitive sport and it's such a fast sport that you don't a lot of times have time to get. Oh, and Nick Groth, big wiggle there. That car, his tires are just got to be burnt off after that spin there. But it's just one of those sports where you just don't have time to gather yourself. Things just keep going, and it's really difficult to get the composure back and go out there and drive. We see it all the time in Cup where guys, they just have a hard time recovering. And those guys are professionals. These guys are hobbyists, and you can see Nick still struggling there.
Absolutely, John. So you currently see Justin Bland just got put a lap down. He falls behind that group of 5 cars. He's really struggling with that car. Major damage to the 65. He's the first car 1 lap down, and he's only 1 lap down. As Stephen Massey is about to go lap down, as well as Chris Coy, and currently only 12 cars on the lead lap, and we're out to have a lot less than that. Sean Medling really closing in on lap traffic right now. The 97 is Stephen Massey and the 42 Chris Coy. Both cars look less than perfect. That's for darn sure.
And I think really still the only car on the racetrack that looks anywhere near like it did when it started the race is the 19. The 37's looking okay, and the 12's looking okay as well. Those cars really the only ones left that are hanging on to any resemblance of a stock car. Oh, and a spinner on the back.
And the caution's up.
Didn't catch a number on that. It might have been the 78.
It was the 12 of Rob Burns, John, and I have to wonder, did he have help?
And we're going to go back here, obviously.
He did not, all by himself. All by himself.
These tires starting to wear their longest green flag run of the night. And we mentioned, there you go with the throttle. He put the throttle down, and the car just did not get itself straightened out. That was a hard shot to the inside wall. And that car all tore up. Not sure if he pulls it out of here. It looks like he does pull it out of there. He doesn't have to tow. Oh, and he actually went up and hit the 61 of Josh Mayhew trying to turn the race car around. Very light contact between those two, but tough break there between the 12, the 61, and the 12 itself, spinning itself out. All kinds of smoke pouring out the back of that race car. And there goes one of
Now-
the top runners we mentioned all night long. No one's safe.
Do we pit?
Yes, sir.
All
And
right.
the
do you
leaders
think
are on
this
pit
still
road
at-
here. Oh,
do you
Sean
think this
Medling
still-
stays out. Sean Medling, David Grosclose, Will Prue, Douglas Hess all stay out. Matthew Thunhorst, I think, going to be the first one on new tires here. Nick Groth as well. So the 6 and the 19 pit. Looks like
That's
David
questionable,
Grosclose
John.
coming to pit road now.
It-
Chris Sercoy stays out. He's going to be second.
Yeah, that's definitely as Chris Sercoy. He's 42. I don't know about that goal. He's really damaged.
He's pretty tore up, but I think Nick mentioned earlier they are in a fuel window, so I don't think... Oh, he is going to come to pit road now, so Sean Medling is going to be in a very bad position here. The
And the
only car
last
that
person
stayed
to
out
do
there.
that, John, Kevin Cook in the 45, and it did not turn out too well for him.
That'll be something to keep an eye on here. Sean Medling got to be easy on the restart, because if he gets on that gas, we saw Kevin Cook end his night earlier getting on the restart just a little bit too hard. Sean Medling now just about the same amount of laps on that tire as well. And it's something to keep an eye on here. Nick Groth going to start second, Matthew Thunhorst third, Joey Lamb fourth, and Douglas Hess fifth. So, and look who's in sixth, Colin.
I don't know how in the world. That is crazy.
Our good buddy
Right.
here at MOTV and ECR, Luis Salmazo, has hit just about everything he could hit on the racetrack tonight. That's certainly not a knock on him. It's through no fault of his own. He has
It's
just
not,
been
man. It's
caught
just
in
Martinsville.
so many bad spots.
And he is in the 6th position. And John, that seems to be how Luis has been able to race all year long. He's just been struggling. But he keeps fighting through. He doesn't give up, and he's been able to. He's in the top 10 points or not. If the season were to end right now, he's in the chase. He's doing a great job this year, John.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, there's more than one way to win a race, and Luis Salmazo showing that you can certainly do that just by survival. He's going to be 6th on the restart. We are going to go here with Sean Medling on board, see if he can get a better restart than Kevin Cook did. And he waits just a little bit longer and gets on the gas, and away he goes. No wheel spin at all. Now the 19's got to worry about the 6. The 6 is going to push. A little bit of contact there. They get away with it.
Good battle going on for the lead, John. Sean Medling in the 37.
It's a 19
Oh.
right there.
He's going to have the fresher tires, John, and I think this is right now. I think this is the 19's race to lose.
The
Joey
question
Lamb up
is,
there.
69 laps to go. How much do you use the bumper? Because you know Sean Medling's not going to roll over and let him by.
You have to be patient, but you also have to realize that you got two very aggressive, two very ticked off drivers in the 6 and the 81 running 3rd and 4th right now, and that they're not going to wait around for you. That you have to go.
Yeah, certainly no choice here. We're coming down 68 laps to go. We don't know how many cautions. And here he's going to try to make the move. And he's going to turn him, Sean
God,
Medling
Nick,
around.
He turns to 17. Oh, my goodness. And he hits him again.
And he
3
hits
or
him
4
again.
times.
Nick Groth.
And Anthony Thitcher in the wall.
Anthony
after-
Thitcher
behind that,
cannot get out of it.
rolling down the track. And they
A very angry
oh, my God.
turnaround there by Sean Medling. That was one of the more angry spins I've seen in a long time at Martinsville. I think he might have something for that 19 before this night's over. Colin, I'm speechless.
This is ridiculous, John.
I honestly don't understand the need to go
very
out there and run
immature.
cars into each other.
No, it's immature. It's
We're going to go on
ridiculous. And
board
these-
here with the
And
19.
these drivers are overreacting.
We're going to go on board with the 19 here.
I mean, he didn't even try to miss him.
You know, I don't know. And then after the wreck, I don't
hits
know
him
about
3
the
or 4 times.
consistent bumping after. The wreck happens, and then the polite thing to do is you just stop.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose the positions anyway. You're the EOL. I mean, that's just a textbook dive bomb. He didn't even turn into the corner. I don't know. I don't want to call any drivers out because it's not my spot, up here in the booth to be calling people out. But that is the 5th or 6th break tonight we've seen go like that. That's just uncalled for.
It is. It's not right. It's disrespectful.
It's borderline
immature.
dirty.
It is, and it's like you said. It's not our place to say anything, but these drivers have to understand that everybody's racing in the same conditions. Everybody's ticked off. Everybody's wants to go, but it's not right. You can't wreck somebody like that, especially when you're 3 or 4 car lengths behind them going into the turn.
And another
you
thing
dive
that we
on
have
them
to
and
think
you hit
about
them
here
and then continually push them.
is beyond the drivers. I mean, this is representing the ECR as a league, and this is by no means a representation of ECR as a league. This is a very clean, very, very well-run league with a very, fair set of rules and a very, I don't know the exact word, but a very good owner. And Anthony Ditchner, he's very consistent. He's fair. He runs his league very well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's happened tonight with these guys. If they're just, if it's the track, if it's the setup, whatever it is. But this is not at all close to what we expect out of ECR every week. And it's rough because we've got people watching at home right now. Our videos are averaging up over 150 views, so people are going to see it there. It's just rough to see. You see, I think Nick Roth getting the EOL here.
Yeah,
it's just rough to see these guys go out there and run around like this because this is not what they race like on a week-to-week basis.
No, and John, and to make matters worse, that Nick Roth just received the EOL. He's going to be back in the pack with Sean Medling in the 37, and I'm not going to say Sean Medling's going to retaliate because Sean Medling in the 37 is a very clean racer, very respectful racer, and I've raced with him a lot, and I've been able to race very clean with him. But everyone's ticked off. It's Martinsville. You can't judge anything at Martinsville by the way it goes. And I just want to point out, John, that we right now have Matthew Thunhorse and Douglas Hess 1, first and second and third right now between Matthew Thunhorse.
Let's just take a
Joey
look
Lamb,
at Matthew Thunhorse's car right now.
I want you to take a look at everybody in the top 10.
Look at David Grossclose's car running 4th. Luis Salmazo running 5th. These guys don't even have cars that resemble a stock car. I mean, these things look like something that rolled out of Dale Jr.'s junkyard onto a racetrack, and here they are running in the lead as we come down 62 laps to go this time by. Thunhorse on the gas hard. Joey Lamb's going to be second.
This is...
What a race, Colin.
And Douglas Hess almost gets into Joey Lamb. And now, John, we talked about these guys jibber-jabbering back and forth to each other, the 6 and the 81, and they're currently running 1-2 as Douglas Hess wants that second position.
Douglas Hess going to go ahead and take it. See, that's a clean pass right there.
That is right. I don't know why people aren't trying to take advantage of that. And obviously, Joey Lamb probably gave a little bit. And that's
interesting, back in the pack. 37 and the 19 around each other. We'll see how this works out. The 19 being very patient there. I don't blame him. I wouldn't have put it 3 wide on the guy I just wrecked either. But certainly battles all over the racetrack between guys that have had words and issues, different things all night long. We'll watch it play out.
And the 37 gets chopped by the 61 right there, but they're going to keep it straight. 37 is going to look underneath the 61, and he's going to cleanly get underneath him. Nick Roth cutting a little close, but...
You can see the 19 there. That's the product of the blind racing. He couldn't see the 61 because he was blocked by the 37, and all of a sudden his bumper's right there. Good move by these lap cars.
And, John, we have a battle for the lead right now. Douglas has seemingly the most up-and-down day you possibly could ever have.
Both these leaders, really.
Early on, and right now he is trying to take the lead away from Matthew Thunhorse in the 6, who's currently... has dominated his first 2 weeks out.
Honestly, Colin, at this point, just take this whole race, put it on a motivational poster. Whoever wins this has pretty much fought through 10 races worth of adversity. I mean, Douglas Hess has been in 4 different wrecks. He was 6 laps down. I mean, Matthew Thunhorse is on a front end on his race car.
5 to 10 wrecks.
I mean, these guys all have to have close to 20, 25 incidents on their race cars.
David Grossclose and Luis Salmazo, I don't know how many wrecks they've been in together.
And poor Luis, man, I feel bad for him. Nowhere to go in most of them. He's just kind of beaten in the place. Oh, I don't feel bad for his position. I feel bad for his race
Silver's
team.
going to look underneath him. And how about Young Guns Racing right now? I know Nick Olson's always helping us out here in the booth. The 19 hits a 37 again off turn 2. But Young Guns Racing currently running 1st, 5th, and 8th. Great run by them right now.
And to be completely honest with you, Colin, if I was the 19 car, I would not pass that 37 car if you handed me a $100 bill.
I don't want him behind me.
I would stay behind him the entire race until 1 to go, and then I'd pass him. I wouldn't pass him. I wouldn't give him my bumper.
I would not go anywhere near him. And if I'm Charles Silver, Charles Silver hits the wall hard. If I'm Charles Silver, I don't want to be anywhere near them right now. I want to get the hell away from them. I don't want to be... Obviously, like I said, I doubt they're going to retaliate right now. This is not the time or place to do it. But speaking from a racer standpoint, I personally would retaliate if I was a 37.
Oh, I would too. In a heartbeat. I'm not, I'm by no means an aggressive or a dirty racer, but some stuff just needs a bit of a love tap. I'm not saying I'd wreck the guy,
while this is all happening, John, the leads changed hands.
And Douglas Hess around Matthew Thunhorse. I'm just going to give a call to the battle for 2nd, and by the time I do that, he's got the lead. So now Douglas Hess to the point. The guy that we said on lap 3 was all but done for the night. Pulling a Kurt Busch here tonight, and he's looking for the victory at Martinsville.
This is crazy.
Nick Roth back into the top 5. And David Grossclose whose car, I mentioned at the beginning of the night, was very bright and colorful, now has donuts and dirt and all kinds of stuff on all four corners of that race car. He's up into the 4th position. I don't know, Colin. I don't even know what to say about this race. This is the race that you take and you show it to teams that are struggling and they're having a bad season. This is the race you take and show it to them, because this just shows that you can pretty much overcome anything. I mean, these guys have been beat and banged on every inch of this racetrack, and they're still up into the top 5.
This is crazy, John. I've never seen anything like it.
Certainly something fun to watch.
These guys are closing in on lap traffic here. You see those 78 Ron Miller. He's going to let them by easily. And Justin Bland, the last car on the lead lap, I shall say, his next car about to get lapped. He's really struggling in that 65 car with a lot of damage.
See, closing in now on the back of David Gross closest, the 19 and the 37. It'll be interesting to see how hard the 28 races them. I can't imagine. Oh, Nick Groth loose! Just holds on to that race car.
And he goes, see, John, and that right there, that's what I call disrespectful right there.
Yeah, there's no need to keep it down on the inside of the 37 there. You just yield the spot. You don't know what your car's going to do in the next corner. You just snapped it loose. You got to just roll over there. And you know,
John, that's one of my major pet peeves. When someone makes a mistake and then they insist on just hanging right there on you. It's just a lack of respect, and I don't agree with that move right there by the 19.
And again, nothing personal against Nick Groff. We love the guy, and we raced, we love everyone in the league, and no one in here is a dirty racer. But from our point of view, some of the things that these drivers are doing out there tonight are just a bit odd, to say the least. And that was one of the things
it's very unlike a lot of these drivers, John.
It is. It by no means, like we said. And now he's going to bump the 28 in the corner.
Wow.
This is by no means what these guys race like, and I don't know what it is about tonight that has got these guys bent out of shape, but it's like feeding gremlins after midnight. They've just come alive tonight, and I don't know what it is. Martinsville, I guess, short track
tempers. I want to drive like a bat out of hell right now. I want to get the hell away from that 37. Well, I can insist on saying I doubt there's going to be retaliation, but like I said, if I'm the 37, I'm not going to.
You don't want to give him the chance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think the 37's faster, too. Someone just mentioned in the chat. Might be making the 37 a little mad. Nick Gross kind of all over the place here. The 37 wants to go. I don't know. It's just
and John, my question is, if this thing stays green, can those two catch the leaders? 4 seconds back right now. Can they catch them?
I think right now it's going to be whatever 2 cars are out front on the restart is going to be what's decided. We've seen pretty much for the last few restarts, 4 cars checked out once, but it's been kind of a 2-car battle. Right now, the 6 and the 48, and then you've got 2 seconds back to Joey Lamb, and then another 2.5 seconds back to the 19 and the 37. So right now, I don't think so. Caution, though, brings all these guys back together. I still think Nick Groth has a fast car. It's just a matter of getting back up to the front. Another wiggle by Nick Groth. That car is something's wrong with that race car.
And I think it's just the trying to overdrive it, John.
Yeah, I think he knows he's 4 seconds back, but when you're 4 seconds back, it's now he's touching the wall. It's time to lay off. Because you're not going to make up 4 seconds on any racetrack, let alone Martinsville. Especially
in Martinsville, yeah.
Yeah, and this isn't a track to make up time.
You're just going to have to hope for a caution and conserve your stuff.
Yeah, this is the save your stuff time.
We're not picking on Nick Roth by any means. It could be anybody in the league for all we matter.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago it was AJ Scarborough we were picking on.
It could be our driver Josh Mayu for all we know. It's just the way these guys are driving right now is way over their heads, and it's very unlike these. It's really unlike these guys' characteristics.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we don't single out drivers by any means to pick on them. It just happens to be that sometimes there's a week where, I don't know, maybe he had a bad day at work or something's going on, or maybe he's just had simply a bad race, and they just seem to be out of character, and we like to point that out. And a lot of guys even come to us on Facebook and say they watch the races back and they notice things they could have done different and they learn from it. And so we like to pick out things that we think are mistakes and discuss them. It's by no means personally attacking somebody. We would, that's not what we do here at MOTV or ECR. We don't, go down and attack people's personalities. Like we said, these guys don't run like this. 17 cautions, that's what we've had almost all season long up until this point.
It's crazy.
So by no means is this an attack. It's just we're pointing out some things that we think could be done differently and hoping that maybe some guys will pick up and learn from it. Now we got a battle for the lead. The 6 close in on the back of the 48 as they work lap traffic.
And John, while this is all happening, I do want to point out that currently the 2 drivers making their ECR Cup debut, actually 3 I guess if you consider Douglas Hess, these guys are running first, 6th, and 10th, with David Groscloth and Will Prue 6th and 10th respectively.
And all in the lead lap, which tonight is a triumph in itself. Very, very impressive runs from those gentlemen so far tonight. We continue to see the new guys coming to ECR run very, very well. And speaking of running very well, the one under fire for Matthew Thunhurst in the Gen 6 Modified, looking to get all he can get on the back bumper of that 48. Oh, this is by far a league record. This, like I said, is barring up on what we've had all season long in the first 4 weeks combined, might equal just a little bit over what we've had tonight. This is by no means I guess this is what you call an outlier if you were taking a statistics class. This is by no means normal or regular for this league, or any league, I don't think, for that matter. This is just one of those races where things have gone from bad to worse to ugly tonight, and it's just been unfortunate for, you know, everyone involved. And Las Vegas is a good track next week to rebound, and then you said, I think we go to, what, Texas and Bristol. So these guys have some time to run some nice solid tracks and get themselves back in it. Tonight, just certainly a struggle for the guys on the track and us up here in the booth, and I'm sure these race teams in general. It's been a rough night, but Douglas
and while this is all going on, John, Nick Groth and Sean Medling have closed in on the 81 of Joey Lamb. A good battle going on here for 3rd through 5th, while the leaders are having a battle. 3rd through 5th, Joey Lamb, Nick Groth, and Sean Medling. Nick Groth goes underneath the 81.
A textbook dive bomb again.
But that was a nice move right there, John.
That was a solid move. That one worked out. That was a
great move.
If there was such a thing as a good dive bomb, that was a good one, but still a very dangerous move by Nick Groth there.
And Sean Medley follows suit right behind him.
This is the point in the race where you don't mind seeing those moves. We're coming down to 35 to go. Even if we get a caution, we're probably not going to see another pit stop. Now's it's okay to start dive bombing and punting and moving guys. But on lap 8, like these guys were doing, that's not what you want to see. Now, gloves are off. As long as you're not wrecking the guy, do whatever you want.
I do want to point out that the 19 and 37 are closing in on the leaders. If these two get to battling up front, there is a chance that these guys could catch them with just 33 laps to go this time by here at Martinsville.
And I think right now they are battling. I think the 6 being there is making the 48 take. You see how early he's entering the corner. Take a defensive line and a caution.
And that changes everything. It looks like, I believe, the 7 of Charles Silver spun out right next to the pit road entrance. Not sure what happened, but major damage. Smoke coming out, barreling out of that number 7 car. Looks like he got loose and just overreacted. It's up into the wall, hard hit.
Looked like he had the car saved. Maybe just wheeling it just a little bit.
I think he just mashed the throttle. I think he mashed the throttle with the wheel turned right, and that's just something you can't do.
Yeah, tough break there for Charles Silver. He'd run fairly good all night. He had some tough breaks down the finish there, but that should just about wipe that 7 car out, and you hate to see that. He's weathered the storm tonight and to get taken out this far into it. Tough break there.
And I'm assuming you'll see all the leaders come down right now, John. I don't expect any lead lap cars to stay out.
Hard pressed to see anybody stay out here. I think strategy call here. There's only 9 cars really on the lead lap.
Yeah, there's only 9 cars on the lead lap.
10
after Justin. Excuse me. Yeah, 10 after Justin Bland will receive the lucky dog. Everyone has to pit. And Douglas has that first pit stall.
For the first time tonight, we're going to get to use our pit road camera. We're going to have a meaningful race off pit road. This one will decide who will be your leader coming to the restart.
And I think it's going to be, I would not be surprised to see a 2-tire call tonight, John. And I don't think we're going to see any here, but
nope, 4 tires for both your leaders here.
Sean
now looking at that pit road camera, who's going to get it off?
And Douglas Hess is going to win it off pit road.
Douglas Hess by a good margin there. Then the 19 and Nick Groth's going to be in that catbird seat in 3rd. Sean Medling 4th.
And P3.
And 81
I think Nick Groth is in the catbird seat, John. He's been the fastest car. He was reeling in those top 2 cars. Him and the 37 are the fastest. And being... Oh, Luis Salmos?
I was just going to say, a bit of a monkey wrench in this. Luis Salmos has not pitted. It'll be interesting to see if he's
the leader.
He might be staying out to lead a lap, Colin, to get a bonus point.
Yeah.
He might be bringing it down pit road this time. If he doesn't, he'll be your leader with 29 laps, or just under 30 laps to go.
Very Tony Stewart-esque, if you will. And he
Luis Salmazo not pitting your new leader. We've talked about it all night long, picking on poor Luis there. That car beat and banged through many different incidents. Really none of his doing. Just caught up in some different stuff.
The tiny little engine that could, John.
And he is out front. We've mentioned it all race long. He's not really run all that great this season, but he's put himself there at the end, and right here he is.
And
he's in the lead,
all it
under
takes
30
is a string
to
of
go.
cautions. All it takes is a string of cautions, which we've had multiple times tonight. And Luis Alonso could just very easily win this race.
You know what scares me now, Colin, is that we're coming down under 30 laps to go. Everyone in the top 5 is probably extremely upset through one event or another. I don't think there's any cool heads left.
Well, I'm going to assume it has something to do with those scratches, the tiny little scratches on the cars that they have.
Yeah, there's not a clean car in the top 5, and they've pretty much done it to each other. There's not been a whole lot of outside contact. And Luis Salmazo doesn't have an issue with any of them. And he's going to be the one that they're going to have to move to get to the front. I feel so bad for him in a way because he's really going to be under so much unnecessary fire here towards the end.
the 48 really hasn't been battling anybody else. I mean, he's battled the 6 there in that last.
48's run a fairly clean race. The 37, the 19, and the 6 are in a hornet's nest right now in terms of tempers. They're all upset.
Yeah.
But the Luis Salmazo, the little 72 car that could, he's going to bring this one down.
Dooring under yellow.
Interesting move there.
We gotta watch tire spin here. And Luis
Salmazo on it.
Going.
Away
he
clean.
Changes lanes. I don't think he changed lanes.
That'll be a tough call for race control there.
I
Wow, Douglas Hess way high. Luis Salmazo pushing.
And 3 wide off turn 2.
3 wide. Hess contact with the 19, nowhere to go. And Matthew Thunhorse is going to get out here with your lead.
Medling, John.
Clear to second.
Clear to second, John Groth clear to third. Here they come down the front stretch. Matthew Thunhorse in the lead here with 26
Nick
laps.
Groth going to go under the 37.
Oh, 37 can't be happy about that move. And these guys got to stop racing.
Oh, the 48's spinning down the back.
Oh, no.
Oh, and he comes up and he collects the 61, the 25 in it as well. I believe another car in front of that had contact.
Josh Mayu.
Folks, they just cannot.
28 of David Gross goes to 83 of Will Prue.
And see if he had any help. 28 got hard into the 72 in the back. Oh, the 28 just hard into the door. The 83 got a little bit, and the 61 got another good lick.
And John,
you just cannot get away from it.
When Nick Groth made that pass on Sean Medling, it may have hurt him. As he's
not where he wants to be right now.
Front row. Although he has been able to get amazing restarts all day.
100 laps ago, Colin, we had this race all locked up. It was the 19 was going to win it. You know, he was the only car on the track with no damage. He was out by a 2-second lead. He was pulling away. Now we're coming down. We're going to have only under 20 laps to go on the restart, and he's going to be in the worst position of the front 3. He's got a guy who's probably still very upset with him. He's got the 6 who's not really yielded much room all night long. Now he's going to go out and earn it. I don't even think he has the best car left anymore.
I don't think so. Dick's going to pit here. He's going to fake it. Not going to pit.
So now what do you do? If you're the 19, you've had the race in the bag for the 80% of the race, and now you've got to go out there and probably move somebody.
And he has to be careful too, John, because he does have that EOL already.
Yeah, he cannot wreck anybody or he's done. So he's got to move somebody without moving him too much.
I think he is the only car out there with an EOL so far.
Yeah, I don't think Sean Medling has one. We haven't called Matthew Thunhorse's name all night. 19 really, I think the only one that had, and that was with the 37. So don't expect the 37 to let him in line here. And if he does, expect a nice hard shot at turn number 1. Again, guys, this is where it comes down to the point of the race where everybody's enemies. There's really no point in talking about who has feuds with who now.
The 72 is staying out. He has not pitted. That's a very questionable call as well. With only 9 cars on the lead lap. I'm not sure why Luis would stay out there, but I mean, track position's everything here. I believe we're going to have a... Can't see the pace car there.
Colin, honestly, Luis Salmazo could win this race.
There's no doubt in my mind.
If they go down to the turn number 1 and they want to go bowling back there for 2nd and 3rd, and they clip Thunhorst, all of a sudden Luis finds himself in the lead with under 15 laps to go.
And John, I just been told Matthew Thunhorst did get an EOL. I do remember now when he got into the back of the 49. So Matthew Thunhorst and Nick Groth, both of the EOLs so far tonight. Sean Medling. I don't believe Luis. I think Luis Salmazo also has one from early on in the race. So who knows? Joey Lamb was also given the one with the incident with Anthony Fisher. So I've been way up. I think everybody has to have close to an EOL.
There's been 19 EOLs given. There's been 1 DQ. So that means 18 different drivers have an EOL out there tonight.
And Luis Salmazo is given the EOL for that yellow.
That's the oddest call we've seen all night. Did he maybe ask for an EOL? No, there'd be no point. He would have pitted. Folks, I don't know. I don't know with anything anymore. Coming to 20 laps to go. We're going to go green. Cars don't have noses on them in the lead. At this point, I don't even want to ask. And Matthew Thunhorst is gone. Nick Gross going to have a gap to fall behind him. No, he doesn't even have a bumper. That's why I said I'm done asking questions for one night at Martinsville.
Oh my
We're just going to, whatever happens, we're just going to go with it, folks.
We're just going to go with it.
It's been that kind of night.
It's been that kind of night. We're going to have, I think in one more yellow, we're going to be at 20.
Yes, sir.
Very uncharacteristic of this type of this league and everything else involved with it.
And with the way these guys are going to have to go after that lead.
And the fact that the top 2, John, have EOLs already.
Oh, Thunhorst loose. The 19 forces it on the outside.
That's all right. I think the 6 is in the best scenario right there.
He is, no doubt. You do not want to give up that bottom.
If you saw Denny...
Loose, Doring the 6 around.
Oh, my goodness.
Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven gone wrong here at Martinsville. Doring to the start-finish line, and the 6 is going to be stuck on that wall. He's going to get it turned around.
John, does the 19 receive the EOL or is it 6?
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to be race control right now, Colin.
I do not want to make, because
the rule at
nobody's
ECR.
Nobody's going to be happy about that.
You have to give an EOL, and both those guys have an EOL. And so you essentially have to disqualify one of the top 2 cars from the race, based on what's essentially a racing deal. And you don't want to give it to both of them, which you could do because
the 19 did get loose right there. I saw it. The 19 did.
They were both
loose.
wiggling.
I don't know if he mashed the throttle there. Or,
20th caution of the night, folks.
Wow, almost 100 laps of yellow flags.
And that gives the lead back to Sean Medlin. Who
and
now
Stephen Massey
and
Justin
up
Bland.
to 3rd position from multiple laps down with under 70 laps to go.
Luis Salmazo has to pit. He has to. And he's not going to.
Colin, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anymore, brother. It's been that kind of night. We've been broadcasting for almost 2 hours. This is probably going to be our longest race of the season at one of the shortest tracks or races by mileage of the year. This is only a 125-mile race, folks. We ran.
Oh my goodness.
We ran the last 2 weeks 400-mile races just about, and we're running 125 laps. Tonight's going to be our longest race of the year. I don't know what these guys are going to do to the finish. Sean Medlin, the only car I think that can. He has the best car up there. I think he's been the only one all night that's run up front. Joey Lamb's been in the top 5, but not, through any really racing. He's kind of just lucked his way up there.
And while this is all happening, John, I want to see if we get one more interview with our in-race reporter, Matthew Thunhorst, after that incident. Matthew Thunhorst, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I got y'all.
You have no front end. You've been out front for the last 100 laps or so, and you're battling with Nick Groth right there. What was your thought process through that whole situation? And what happened from your point of view?
I was racing with him earlier. I knew he'd sit there and try to pinch me down, and I just tried to say, hey, this is my lane. And I guess what ended up happening is just he ended up bumping into me or something, so I'm not really sure. It's just super frustrating.
Well, we do have the replay here, and it does look like he just got in the throttle a little too hard and got loose on the outside of you and came down into you. But we're getting ready to go green flag racing here, buddy. You're going to be restarting and believe in the 7th position. So good luck the rest of the race, and try to get yourself back up there in position.
I'm going to fight like heck to get a top 3 or whatever.
Might have another word with him
John.
before the night's over, as our podium finishers get interviewed after the race. But we are going to go back green flag racing. Sean Medlin going to be your leader.
And Stephen Massey and Luis Salmazo 3rd and 5th. Sean Medlin hesitating. And that's the first time we've seen somebody wait until the green flag to go.
Down in the turn number 1, Joey Lamb going to be cleared to 2nd. Stephen Massey cleared to 3rd.
I think this is Sean Medlin's race. I feel like it has to be. And Justin Bland is really slow in the back of the pack. Matthew Thunhorst looking underneath Luis Salmazo. That's for 5th place.
Matthew Thunhorst still has a shot, but he has to go and get one more caution.
He has to go. I think he has to get up to 3rd and have a caution.
I think he's got to get 3rd or 4th and then really luck into something here, but he still does have an outside shot. I think he's got the 2nd fastest car on the racetrack.
Justin Bland, John, has gone a lap down, I think, in each of the last 5 or 6 long green flag runs we had, and is in 4th place.
Like I said, this is one of those races. You just showed us somebody struggling, and they make Matthew Thunhorst.
And Matthew Thunhorst dive bombed for 4th. That's a good clean move right there. He held it right on the yellow line.
Perfect. If you're gonna make that move, that's how you want to do it right there. But yeah, this is one of those nights, man. You just never see it coming, but when it happens, long for the ride.
Nick Groth, after everything that happened, John, is currently in the 10th position, 6 laps down.
Josh Mayhew's still running, yes he is, so Nick Groth will probably lose at least one more spot, I would have to think.
I think he's going to go down, yes. I believe he'll lose at least one more.
So remember, these are points races here, folks, so every position does account for a point. These guys might not be acting like it here tonight, but this is a points-paying event, and this is for the championship. It's a 36-race season. We're only on week 5.
And the winner of this race, John's in the chase.
Yes, sir. Sean Medlin right now checking out 1.2 seconds. Looks like that's going to be him. But
and if we get a yellow flag, John, Matthew Thunhorst is in 3rd and Joey Lamb's in 2nd, so anything could happen.
We've seen 4 wrecks out of the lead tonight, so I don't want to say it's over yet, but Sean Medlin, probably the most consistent driver that's had the lead all night long, and he seems to be pulling away with it. So 8 laps this time, 7 laps this time. Bye.
Anything can happen, John. Anything can happen here at Martinsville. We've seen it all day.
If there was any race
happened.
where anything can happen, it would be tonight.
And folks, we do want to reiterate that this is not usually how this happens. We've got our peak viewers right now, 24 viewers in our room watching the end of this event. And we got a great battle going on for you here for second place right now. Joey Lamb and Matthew Thunhorse seemingly have been around each other all night long and are currently battling for second place, while Sean Medling has set sail and he's seemingly held this one in.
As Colin was saying, this is by no means what we see week to week, and we do beg you to come back and give this league another shot here, 9:30 Eastern, Tuesday nights. But tonight's been a one-off event, and we thank you guys for sticking out with us here watching what's really been an exciting night. It's been a slow moments in between.
And this race is official, John. Matthew Thunhorse 2 seconds behind Sean Medling. Once again, may have to settle for silver. I don't think he has time to reel him in. But
what a way to come into the ECR Cup Series. Yeah. Matthew Thunhorse, his debut last week, subbing for AJ Scarborough, finished second to his owner, Anthony Titchener. This week picked up by Nick Olson in Young Guns Racing, and he's running second again without a front end on his race car. So you can't be too upset with that.
No, you can't. And I think he's just trying to overdrive it right now. There's really no point. He's going to have 3 laps to go this time by for Sean Medling, as he's going to work through lap traffic. Got 78 of Ron Miller. Ron Miller's going to go 6 laps down. He's in 9th position right now.
And as you said, right now a caution ends the race. We do not do green-white checkers here on iRacing, so right now a caution ends it. So right now Sean Medling just got to pretty much hit his marks, roll onto the throttle. He can drive away with a 2.2-second lead.
Yeah.
2 laps to go this time by.
And how about a start for the season to Haters Make Us Famous Racing, John? I mean, this is going to be the 3rd consecutive victory for Haters Make Us Famous Racing, and not to mention they've just been seemingly unstoppable.
They really have early on here. I mean, you got Anthony Titcher's already locked into the chase. He had back-to-back wins. Wayne Willard's run up front pretty much every race. Now Sean Medling's looking to lock his name into the chase. So certainly a strong showing. They haven't always gotten the finishes they've liked, but tonight they worked through a whole ton of adversity as he's going to take the white flag. And looks like they're going to park one of their cars in victory lane and lock it into the chase here.
Absolutely. And how great is that for Anthony Titchener as this leader. Sean Medling sails it off into turn 3 for the final time. He's going to have 2 cars locked into the chase at only week 5. Anthony Titchener and Sean Medling go to victory lane at Martinsville.
And Sean Medling going to be your winner tonight. Matthew Thunhorse going to bring that car home 2nd. Joey Lamb 3rd. Justin Bland's going to come home 4th. And I would think Stephen Massey's going to round out your unofficial top 5 here tonight. So we can finally throw a checkered flag on what has been one of the longest, funnest, most exciting races that I've ever seen here on iRacing.
Yeah. And Sean Medling, I don't even think he wants to do a burnout right now.
No, at this point, you just want to go park your car and go to sleep.
Yeah. And
he's done.
We're going to have your...
He's done 3 burnouts tonight, turning the race car around on the track. So I think he's done just about all the burnouts he wants to do for one night. But one heck of a race, and what a finish by Sean Medling.
Absolutely, John. And we're going to have our top 3 finishers here, right here on MOTV. Post-race, we're going to have Joey Lamb, Matthew Thunhorse, and our winner, Sean Medling.
Hey, Joey, it's John up here in the ECR booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, we talked to you earlier in the race. You were running 4th, and we asked you what you wanted out of the night, and you seemed to think you had a car to get up there and contest, and you come home 3rd. So I don't know how much of that was through racing and how much of it was through luck, but a good finish nonetheless. What was it like out there amidst the chaos tonight?
It was definitely chaos tonight. Overall, just Battle Buddy Foundation of Pocket.
A little bit of technical issue there, Joe. You got a copy, buddy? Well, folks, it appears I may have just lost connection to TeamSpeak. So the night that never quite went to plan continues to not go to plan. I'm not sure if the TeamSpeak's crashing or if it's just my client. So I'm going to try to get you guys reconnected. We do have the top 3 interviews if we can get them. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on the tech issue screen. Again, guys, it's been one of those nights here tonight. My deepest apologies, and I will take this time to say that thank you for sticking with us here tonight. It has not been quite what we had planned when we came here to Martinsville, but it has gone almost as expected. I'm going to try to reconnect here to the TeamSpeak, see if we can get ourselves back in here. If we can, I'll go ahead and sign off and just call it a night. It's been exhausting here. It appears that TeamSpeak has actually gone down. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess do this send-off solo. It's been that kind of night, folks. So we're going to go ahead and pull up your top 5 here. Sean Medling with the win here tonight. Great drive by that number 37 car. Matthew Thunhorse comes home second without a front end on the race car. I cannot stress how many of these cars are broken and beaten up. Joey Lamb home third. We got a few words with him before TeamSpeak went down. Justin Bland in 4th, Stephen Massey in 5th, and we'll go ahead and pull up your full results tab. So again, guys, I want to stress how much I want to stress that this is not the typical racing you see here in ECR, and I know Anthony would back me up 100%. I was going to bring him down here for an interview post-race if TeamSpeak was working, but how much I can stress that this is not the typical racing you see here on this channel. If you guys do want to come back next week, we work Vegas. It is technically the off week, but we missed Vegas week 3 due to some iRacing issues, so we are going to run Las Vegas next week, 9:30 Eastern here on twitch.tv/I'mJoeCavs. This is the official home for all your ECR broadcasts. If you guys want to come on back, I'll go ahead and throw the Twitters up and stuff like that. You can follow all those for different updates, myself and Colin Fern's Twitter, as well as the ECR and Moist Twitter. If you guys want to check out, down below you have the links to the iRacing page. If you want to sign up for iRacing, you've got the links to the ECR page, different things like that. If you guys want to check that out, feel free. Like I said, go ahead and throw the page a follow to update you when we go live. We go live every single Tuesday night. We follow the exact NASCAR schedule, so every Tuesday night except the off weeks. We are live next week, though, for Las Vegas. So 9:20 here, right here on this channel, every Tuesday night. If you guys want to come on back, like I said, I do urge you. It's not typically this kind of racing. No, this race was exciting. So quick recap, 20 cautions, 96 laps. Your winner tonight, Sean Medling. It's been a fun night, folks. I almost hate to sign off because it really has been exciting, but I thank you all for coming out, and I thank you for stopping by. Your continued support of this channel is amazing. Again, thank you to Luis Salmazo and Aaron Vincent for their generous donations, and to ECR for letting us do this. We do have a good time every week. Even on nights like tonight, we had a blast up here in the booth. So for Colin Fern, myself, John Bucher, and ECR as a whole, I want to thank you guys for coming out and watching this MOTV broadcast. It's been a ton of fun, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. And we hope to see you guys next week at Las Vegas for what we hope is a much cleaner race. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday, 9:20 Eastern Time, right here on this channel. So thank you guys for coming out, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation of Martinsville. Thank you, guys.